Yes, good evening. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. It is the 2nd of August, 2001. Daniel Levy has just taken over Tottenham Hotspur with a 24-year plan that we're at the beginning of. And there's a plan, there's a process. We're going to start buying quality players. Rumours are we're going to build a brand new stadium that's going to change the game. And it's going to allow us to compete with the best. My bad. That was 24 years ago. Guys, girls, welcome to Football Heritage TV. My attempt at sarcasm. Big up to Iggy from Tottenham Away, Danny from the Hotspur Hood, and Brian Daigle from Daigleland, whatever that was I said, from Tottenham on tour. How we doing, fellas? Another day in Spurs world.
Well, first of all, Savva on Sea. Savva on Sea is what I'm going to call you. Got Daigleland and Savva on Sea. That was one of...
Oh, go on. You're still there? Go on.
That was one of the best intros and build-ups to a show I'd ever heard. That was phenomenal. I need to get that clipped.
Listen, you're welcome. You're welcome to it. Iggy, how are we doing?
I've never been this happy.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I've had some fried chicken and waffles. What you think I was going to say about Tottenham? Nah, fried chicken and some waffles on a Friday. That was beautiful. Now I'm here talking about Tottenham. So let's see where this night takes us.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just tell your family you're about to have a bit of a dip in your mood. And Danny from the Hotspur Hood, another one. He does not mind what he says, this lad. How are you, Dan? You all right?
Same Spurs, different day, innit? Nothing new.
Well, Dan, you said that to me earlier. And what did I respond with? Remember?
What can we expect to change?
Different decade. Same Spurs, different decade. Look, let's get into it. Let's get into it, guys. Look, big up. I've seen my nemesis. Brian, they're here. Brian, thanks for stopping by, Kate. Guys, girls, Tottenham Hotspur. It is the 2nd of August. We had a manager that came out at the beginning of the summer and he said, I want players in early. I want to revamp my attack. The fans need to have a winning mentality. We're going to challenge for titles. Fast forward 66 or 67 days since he said that, we've signed 2 18-year-old kids, Teemo Werner on loan, and we're now apparently after Solanke. Iggy, let me start with you. Is Ange a liar? Is Ange another manager that has completely fallen into the trap of believing whatever crap Daniel Levy has thrown at him in interview? Or is it a mixture of the two and they all got a bit carried away? What's gone on?
Mate, Ange is on a payroll, man. He's just another name. It's just another. Now more than ever, I've come to that conclusion that any thoughts I may have had of him, it's just going down the same old route. And now makes me think that. Well, to be honest with you, I thought that even after Conte left, I just thought, who's gonna go one better than Conte? There ain't. Anyone that's going to be employed now will be just someone on the paper, just doing what he's told and make do with what he's got. So it doesn't really matter moving forwards if Ange quits or gets fired. It's not gonna make a blind bit of difference. We waited for the Euros before because we couldn't do any deals because the Euros were about to begin. Then we was during the Euros. We were waiting for the Euros to finish because the Euros were going on. Euros finished. Well, now we can start. We can start making some deals. All the meanwhile, other clubs are moving before the Euros. They're moving during the Euros. And moving after the Euros. They signed players that directly had an impact in the Euros.
Yeah.
You mentioned off air before West Ham, possible Fulkrug joining him, Arsenal getting Calafiori, and so forth and so forth. Here we are, like you said, 2nd of August, waiting. And bearing in mind that we're probably the team that needs to really I mean, we how long have we all been talking about a number 6 or a number 9 or a wide player? How long have we all been doing it? A cover for Udogie. Now we're about to lose the mighty Emerson Royale. Jed Spencer's going to be stepping in for him as well. So what are we doing? And the reality is that we're not doing absolutely zilch, man. We're doing the same old, and which is why the likes of Harry Kane, we lost. And it won't be too long until the likes of Van der Ven, Vicario, and all our better players open their eyes and look around and thinking, hang on a minute, what we're doing here.
Sorry, do you mean the way Kane did, Carrick did,
Yeah,
Bale
of course,
did,
of course,
Berbatov, Sheringham,
the list is endless.
Walker?
And you know, and then you know, we got comments like, you know, questioning Ange's integrity. Well, I'm questioning what the hell he's talking about, because he's talking a hell of a lot at the moment. He's talking a hell of a lot, and what I'm finding in his statements, and somebody please tell me otherwise, is a constant shift of goalposts in his declarations. Month after month, you see it all changing from when he start. You know, we talked about winning the league. Now we're talking about not getting business done within. So, what league are we challenging for? If that is what we're doing, we ain't even make. We're not going to be. I don't think we'll even make Europa, because the games have multiplied now by having European games. We've got cup competitions and stuff like that. And with the current squad that we got, it ain't going to be enough for us to even make Europe next year, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, Dan, let me come to you just quickly before I do. Everybody, please smash the like just quickly. I think some people really need to clean their ears out. Nowhere in that sentence and that question to Iggy did I blame Ange. I asked a question. Listen to what I'm saying, people. Scott, as always, my man, as always, I'm happy for anyone who is Levy in or loves Ange or whatever. I'm happy for anyone to come on my channel. It's not as easy as you think on a Friday night to just get everybody to join. So please don't do that. It's like when people say to me, oh, you don't have females on your channel. Yeah, it's not quite that simple. You can invite people. If they're not free, they're not free. Danny, look, I've just seen a comment. I want you to start on this, Dan. Look, we got things like this, like actually believe, as much as I hate it, I don't know why I would hate it, that the club is moving forward.
Give us some examples. Give us some examples on how the club is moving forward. So, for what? Sorry, Savva, to step out. To the sports lover, I have no problem with what you're writing, but please demonstrate me 5-6 points of how the club is moving forward on the football pitch. I'm not talking about what we're doing with the hotels and what we're doing all that. I'm talking the football. This is a footballing channel. Let's talk football. Give me 5 or 6 points on how the club is moving forward, so then we can argue it. We can agree and disagree, but give us some context of what you're arguing about.
Absolutely. I mean, Dan, I'm going to say, these things are easy to say, Dan. You've probably seen me this summer. The term I'm using a lot is, I'm hearing a lot of words from Spurs fans. I'm hearing a lot of words from the players. I'm hearing a lot of words from the manager. The one thing I'm not seeing, Dan, is any action. Right, Dan, are we moving forward? And a secondary question, I want to go on to Brian afterwards to this as well. Are we getting rid of the deadwood? Because so far, I've not really seen any of the deadwood that were actually playing for us leave. I've seen a lot of the ones that go on loan and never play in the first team, but all of the kind of deadwood that plays in the squad is still at the club. What other than Hill and Højbjerg on loan? What do you make?
Didn't we extend Hill's contract?
Right, we're extending the deadwood.
That's what I was about to say.
So, Dan, what's your take on it?
On the first thing there, especially for you there, Iggy, I mean, come on. Look on the positive side of this, yeah? Ange has improved us and taken us steps forward. I mean, look at our defence. Our defence is significantly better, and we conceded 3 less goals last season. That is steps forward. 2
less goals. Yeah, even worse.
That's improvement. That's steps forward. And that's purely down to Ange's tactics. So surely that can only get better. But with everything else, people say you've got no respect for the manager. Respect is a long word for me. I'll go common courtesy. Respect is something you earn at a place. And I've showed him respect or common courtesy in the aspect of that I hold him to his word. Ange was the one who blatantly said there, and we've all repeated it 100 times, I pick the players, they come through me. Right, okay. Because I'm showing you respect as a person, as a man, as a human being, as a manager, I'm not calling you a liar now, and I'm holding you to your word. So he goes and gets someone like Teemo Werner in, and then wonders why he gets a bit of disrespect. But then he gets backed up by what? A lot of the fan base. No. That's Levy. That's Levy. That's not Ange. Okay. So isn't that being disrespectful to Ange then? But then Gray comes in, someone that most of the people I bet never even heard of until that game against Chelsea. And all of a sudden, no, that one's Ange. Brilliant by him. He sees how it's going and that. Well, come on, people, make your minds up.
Yeah.
I'm only holding a manager to his word because I'm showing him credit at the end of the day. And then when he talks about how we need a strike force up front because we're not clinical enough, whatever. And again, I repeat, he goes and re-signs one of the bloody problems. And then the striker we look at, which is looking like it could more than likely happen, with the comments he's made from it as well, saying that Solanke fits what he wants in every way. Great. So he's now basically picked a strike force of Werner, Solanke and Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, people. Angie's going to get it. He's going to get it right. I'll tell you what Angie's going to do. He's going to be in about 6th or 7th place by January, or by December. And if he's not within, let's say, 6 or 8 points of top 4, he's going to be gone. Why do I say that? Because I just go on the history that I've seen. I've got 24 years of history to go back on. If something changes in the future, so be it. We know things can change, but it doesn't look like much is changing, does it? No, it doesn't look like he's changed his style or his tactics in any of the friendlies. Okay, they're only friendlies. We've won them. Mm-hmm. But we're still conceding 3 goals against teams that we shouldn't be. But then I can understand our full team ain't there. But he hasn't changed his tactics. He hasn't changed his style. And people clutching at straws, really, praying that 2 players, young players at that, who could come very good, who have never even played in top professional football, are going to absolutely rinse it for us and get us in top 4, top 3, whatever, win us the league like Ange stated, and also get us a cup on the way. You know what? Same Spurs, same shit, different day, different week, month, year, season, different 24 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, I completely agree with everything. I mean, Brian, let me come to you and welcome to Stel. By the way, if any of my mods, if there are any mods in the chat, if you do see any account by the name of Kate Piccolo, do me a favour. Even if it says, "Hi, Savva, how are you?" block it. Kate Piccolo is a troll. Please block it. Thank you very much. That's the last thing I'll say on that. Brian.
Yes, sir.
There seems to be, big up, first of all. Hello. You look lovely. There seems to be a lot of, as always, there's a divide in the Tottenham fan base, shock, horror. Lots of people seem to think we are moving forward. Other people are saying, well, how? When you look at last season, after the first 10 games, you would say, wouldn't you, unequivocally, oh, God, we've moved forward. Then if you look at us from game 10 to game 38, we finished something like 13th or 14th in the form table, which tells you, have we moved forward? We scored a few more goals. We conceded 2 less goals with a much better group of defenders. We lost 12 games. Have we moved forward? And if so, what are the glimmers of hope you can give us? Because I'll be honest, I can't see what we've moved forward with.
So first of all, we've all got to remember that famous slogan, dare, dream, do. Please remember to dare, to dream, and to do. I will say, and I will be different to you guys here, I've said it and I'll never go back on it. I always back a manager. I always will back a manager. I think Ange can get a success. I think Ange can get the trophy. But I am a little bit concerned now, and things are starting to concern me. Like those comments that came out today, when it all came out about what he said about can't get it done in one window and all those comments, before I did anything, I was like, is this ITK comments? Is this news that people are saying, or is this genuine from the horse's mouth? So I very quickly messaged Ben and Simeon, who are out there on the career tour, and I messaged them and said, is this ITKs? Is this nonsense? Or is this... And they're like, no, they're direct comments from Ange. And I was like, I hate to say this, I didn't want to say this about him, but he's been levied. And I don't mean, I still back him. I still think he can do things. I still think he can, but you cannot go from where he ended this season saying we're fourth, we're going for first, we're going to win, we want a challenge for the title. Everything needs to change at this football club. There needs to be big changes. We've got this Premiership team in, or the transfer team. Big changes are coming. Then obviously Teemo Werner, which not the best pleased about. I have been a big fan of Archie Gray, or since we signed him. Bergvall, we'll see. But then when you start hearing these things saying Project Youth, he's not used youth really before he's bought in. Then it was the comments he came out with today. He said in the beginning of July, I want players here in the first 3 weeks of July. As you said, this is stated August the 2nd. Players came in. Then we're signing a striker this week. I think he's fuming behind the scenes. I honestly think he's fuming. And for people, this is the one that's got me. We mentioned Dominic Solanke. And Iggy mentioned it at the start where we couldn't do it because of this. We couldn't do transfers for that. Then the excuse was we could not do it because of the Euros and the Copa America. And then we go for a player that wasn't at the Euros or the Copa America.
Yeah.
I have linked it to, you look at it when it comes to when that season of 75 days without a manager. We went for every Tom, Dick and Harry under the sun and then ended up with a manager that was available the whole time in Nuno. I don't get it. Then I'm hearing the reason that we didn't go to get Solanke at the beginning is the price would have been too much and we need to wait for the price to come down. And then I was like, this is Tottenham Hotspur. Then you hear the great one that I've loved all summer. Bournemouth need to sign a replacement. Bournemouth need to find the replacement. Now I don't. We've been getting rid of all our dead wood, and I think we have done well. I think you're right, Savva. There's still plain first team dead wood that needs to go, but Bournemouth need to find a replacement. We don't do that, and we're like, okay, let's wait for Bournemouth. Let's play fair. This is Bournemouth. Their entire stadium is smaller than our South Stand. They are not as rich as us. They are not as affluent as us. Manchester United, when they want our players, a Carrick, a Berbatov, do you think they said, oh, let's wait for Tottenham to find a replacement? And then they're like, no, we're the bigger club. We're the bigger monster. We're coming in. We want the player. We get the player. But here we go with the excuses again. And I honestly thought by the time we went on the tour, there would be some first team, like an Eze, like maybe a Neto. I thought they would be signed, sealed, delivered and out on the tour. But we're here again, coming back from the tour.
Brian, can I ask, Brian? I've got to ask. Did you really believe that? Like, not one.
I thought we'd be a couple of players in. I honestly, not because I believe in Daniel Levy, but we have Paratici, Lange, McKenzie, this whole team where we were told, and I was like, do you know what? And people know I've taken a bit more of a softer approach till the second that window closes. Once that window closes, then I'll be to use a word from Mr. Box Office, unleashed. Because I can say, right, there's no getting away from it. It is what it is, but we got what we got. And I actually genuinely thought, not because of Levy, that Postecoglou has run his mouth or said what he wants. A actual team had been set to tackle transfers, and we obviously thought he was going to take a step back. But then we heard Archie Gray, he was instrumental in, but we were told he was stepping back, and then people praised Levy. The very same people that praised Levy were the ones that said he's got nothing to do with transfers. And then, so I honestly thought that we would have a couple more players in, whether they would have been elite level, but we're here again. And I'm backing Ange, but I'm not happy with what he said today.
Brian, don't you think though, given what we know,
Yep.
don't you think Ange has been overdoing himself a little bit with the amount that he's been saying? He's half been saying a lot of stuff, and I'm just thinking, just calm it down a little bit, just rein it in, because you don't have the certainties that everything that you've said 3 or 4, 5, 6 months ago is going to actually happen. And you know the history of the club, you know the history of Daniel Levy. Why would you overexert yourself with declarations when you don't have the facts or the proof that it's going to happen? That's for me, because he's gone. Even when he was saying it at the time, I was going, "Whoa, slow down a minute, the league and all of this, slow down." Now it's going down the other way. Now it's giving me this, and I'm thinking constant goal shit, like a goalpost movement, and I'm thinking he's come out, for me, in my opinion, guys, looking really bad, because what he said and what he's and he continues to do it. And I don't know why he continues to do it, putting himself under some serious fire, man.
So he's not a man of his word, is he? He's not a man of his word then.
I've
shown him the respect of holding him to his word, and he's just proven that he chats bullshit.
For me, I'm just thinking to myself, like, just zip it a little bit, like, cut down on your words so you don't have too much to be accountable for, because you are really relying on the club. The club is covered in smokescreen. But Iggy, he's ultimately going to take the fall for all of this.
Do you know? I want to bring Stell in before I do. What I find really funny is how people want to pick and choose what they believe as what Ange has said. So, for example, if I say, "Well, hang on, Ange is telling me to have a winning mentality and that we're gonna challenge for titles," no,
but black and white, man.
But he doesn't mean that, right? Oh, Ange is telling us now today that it doesn't all happen in one window. There you go, Savva. Ange is saying it doesn't. Well, which Ange am I to believe then? Am I to believe the one that everyone was wetting themselves over, thinking that we're going to win a league? Or am I to believe the one now that says the same thing that every manager, and I'm coming to you on this still, every manager has done this. They've come in year one, Jose, Conte, Pot, everyone. Things are changing. I want to do this. I want to build a culture off the field as well as on it. Fans pick up on those buzzwords still. Culture. He's changed the culture. I'll show you what I mean. Look at this. He's improved the culture off the field for the players. The players want to play for him. Still, the players didn't look like they wanted to play for him when we went 4-0 down at Liverpool, 3-0 down at Arsenal at home, 4-0 at Newcastle, or 5, whatever it was. Are we just backing whatever the buzzword is at the time still? I don't get what's going on. I'm so frustrated with it. We've got all these people believing culture. He's changed what culture? We're conceding goals for fun. Every time we concede a goal, the team go and score another 2 or 3 quick fire. I'll let you go still. It just frustrates me that we're using buzzwords for everything.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Brian, Savva, Iggy, Dan. Big up to you guys. I've just had some lovely fresh strawberries, so I'm feeling good. I do like some strawberries.
Now time to have some sour grapes.
I've had those for 25 years. I've had those for 25. Yeah, look, it's an interesting situation because fans are so desperate to jump on something that they really want to believe is going to take them to the promised land, that they walk blindfolded into it out of desperation. They're so desperate for this to work that they've taken any level of independent critical thinking out of their remit. So if Ali Gold says this, if that man says that, if this channel says this, if Ange says this, you see, yeah. And what they just suck it in because they're so desperate for it. What they're not doing is just taking a step back and mapping it out. And when you do that, you realize absolutely fuck all has changed. Nothing has changed at all, right? The manager says one thing, the opposite happens. I want my signings in early. Now he's saying
Jesus,
we we might not get all the business done. It might not happen now. 1 minute he says, I need to change my forward attacking lineup. He's not happy with it. We're a bit thin up front. We haven't brought in a striker. We haven't sold Richarlison like everyone said. He's going to go to Saudi Arabia. We brought back Teemo Werner, and I take everyone back to that moment we signed Teemo Werner. With 2 months to go, I said, if we sign Teemo, that is a major red flag. If we bring in Teemo Werner, I'm sorry, Ange is not steering the ship. It's the biggest con. It's another lie. It's bollocks. And anyone who believes it, you deserve what's coming. And what's coming is a car crash. Teemo Werner is not an Ange signing. And I'll tell you how I know this for a fact. If you said to Ange Postecoglou, there's £40 million, go and sign a right-sided player, he's not picking Teemo Werner for shit. Because he spent 50 million on Brendan on the left. Right? So, if you gave him 50 million pounds, he is not signing Teemo Werner. Teemo Werner is the best we could get on a super, super low budget of maybe 5 million quid. That's why he's here. It's a club-instigated move. Where Ange is to blame is that he accepted that. Rather than saying, I'm not tolerating this. I can't win with players like that. But he thinks that he can because he's done it in Japan and Australia. So he thinks he can bring these two Bob players and we're going to win a Premier League against Arsenal, who are buying Calafiori, Declan Rice, Thomas Partey's, Odegaard's. He thinks he's going to beat them. He thinks he's going to beat Man City to a title. He's out of his freaking mind. He's taken this job because it's the biggest job in his life. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a good manager. But it doesn't matter how good you are. We've seen it with Poch, with Conte, with Jose. Some of the best. Some of the best. They all screwed up because they never got the quality needed to compete with the best. The Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Man Cities. If you don't bring in elite or top level, you're fucked. You're never going to do it.
Let me ask you something.
And Angie's accepting this. He's tolerating it because he really believes, but I can. No, you can't, mate. No, you can't. And fans have bought into it. They've been.
But still, let me ask you, right? And this is what I don't get. By the way, I don't
for everyone.
I don't want this to be we go around in a circle. Everyone can chat, right? We're all adults here, and you know, what I don't get, right? Wow, Jesus, they're going for me tonight, aren't they? Wow.
You know what?
How many?
I might leave this stream because I might get you cancelled.
It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. I've learned to laugh about it.
Don't bring them up, man. Don't bring them up on your screen.
I'm asking, could my mods please do a much better job so that I don't have to go in and block all these people?
But Savva, the thing is, comments like that prove one thing to me. This conversation, they don't want it to be out there. The fans like him or her, whoever it is, or Robot, they don't want this conversation to exist because they are shitting themselves if we're right. Because, well, we've been right for 25 years. They are petrified because if we're right, Savva, we blow up, we become the voice everyone wants to hear. And people like that are scared. They're scared of this conversation.
This is what I was going to ask, right? To everyone.
See it on Tottenham away all the time.
What I don't get, right? What I don't get about what you hear from people, like all the people at the moment are arguing back with us about, he has changed the culture, guys.
No,
right? And we have got a definitive attacking style of play now. And the excuse is, we only conceded 61 goals because this player was injured or this happened or that happened. Guys, I was saying the exact same things I'm saying now last summer. And I said them the summer before. And the summer before. And the summer all the way back to when I was a wee 16-year-old skinny and living up life trying to sneak into nightclubs. I've been saying the same thing. Every year, these people are wrong. Every year, guys, these people are wrong. Yeah. But every summer, we're negative and, you guys don't know. I trust the manager more than you. You don't understand what Ange is building, what Poch is building, what Conte's building, what Jose's building, Hoddle, Ramos, AVB, Sherwood, Redknapp, Santini. We hear this every single summer, guys. They're always wrong. So where is this blind faith coming from that it's changing when we're signing children, conceding a shed load of goals, and have a really horrible attack? Where is this coming from, guys?
Well, if you want to go with a manager, yeah, basically he's had a significantly better team than what Conte had, and Conte still got us into top 4. And he got us into 5th place when actually we had a team, as far as I'm concerned, should have walked into that 4th place quite easily, because I don't think Villa was nothing special. And plus the excess games they had and everything did no help either. But it was purely down to Ange's tactics that we did not get that 4th place. Because out of about 15 points that we lost,
Agreed.
if he would have just changed his tactics a bit, if he would have realised that his zonal marking ain't working after, let's say, 20 games, not 35 games, if he would have realised that he was conceding the same goals every game, if he would have realised that, yeah, there's a good chance they could get a second goal here, maybe we step back for 5-10 minutes and then go for it again, we could have easily got 9 points out. Even 6 points out of it, maybe, let's say. Let's cut it down to 6 points. But no, the man did not want to change his tactics. If he is a good manager, like you said, Stel, then a good manager realises he can only play with the cards he's got. He'll adapt to the moment, wait for the long run, so he can adapt the whole thing to what he needs it to be. But because he was too stubborn or hasn't got a clue how to do it any other way, or no plan B, whatever, he is the reason, as far as I'm concerned, we missed out on 4th place. Because if he just changed his tactics in a couple of games, yeah, it would have.
No, what I'm trying to say is, would it have made a difference for us entering the Champions League instead of Europa? In the grand scheme of things.
I totally get that.
I don't know, man. In the end, I wasn't even bothered. I wasn't even bothered about going into Europa.
If we're taking steps forward, then, and we've got a good manager, he should be adapting to stuff like that and seeing it over a matter of a couple of games, not 35 games.
Yeah, but I think what Iggy's saying, tell me if I'm wrong, Iggy, and if I am, I think what Iggy's saying, would it have made a difference if we had actually made the Champions League?
Sorry, would this summer have been different if we made Champions League?
No,
this is what I'm trying to get at. So all this, what I'm trying to say, Dan, is all this thing about making top 4. Why? Because it hasn't served us anything when we have made it. We made top 4 like Champions League 7-8 years in a row.
I totally get what you're saying, but my point is he could have done it. If he wouldn't have been so stubborn. Would it have done us any favours? I doubt it.
I'm gonna back that on this. For me, everyone got on Conte's back. He's free at the back. He doesn't change it. Blah blah blah. And I remember myself and the guys on Tottenham Way, we were saying, "What do you want him to do? Look at the players he's got. He's setting them up to the best of what the players are, because them players were shit last year under Conte. They weren't good. That squad was terrible, other than Kane and Son. So he played a tactic that he felt would get the best out of it. Okay, Conte's gone. I get why he never adapted, and I defended it. We can debate this. Ange has got the players to adapt. He has got the players to drop the defense a bit deeper. He has got the players to not have to invert, but to play on the overlap. He never does it. This is the difference. Has Ange got the tools to play different? Yes, he does. Did Conte? No. I thought Jose did, though. So we've got to look at the tools. And so far for me, I like Ange because I can see what he's trying to do. But why I said he's a good manager, not a great manager, is because he's naive. He doesn't adapt when he should, and he's got the tools to adapt. We've got wing backs that are designed for the overlap. He doesn't do it. He's got a defense that can defend high up and slightly deeper. He can go to a back three because he's bought Dragusin. Go look at the defense Conte had. He never had Van der Ven, Romero, Dragusin. I mean, bloody hell. That's the best three defenders we've had at the club since Alderweireld and Vertonghen. And when one of those got injured, what was the backup?
And we still can't defend.
So for me, and let's have it right. He spent 230 million in his first season. He spent another, how many millions now? We're almost at 300 million.
I think he spent 370 million as manager so far, I think.
I don't know if it's that much, but he spent, and I look at the first team.
In Dragusin, 40 million on Gray, Bergvall as well. Look, it's well over 325 million still in a year.
I will always back the manager. This is where I agree with Brian. I'll back him to the end, but I am being very critical this time. Because he talks a hell of a lot. He has and this is where Iggy was right now. Just shut up for a bit and stop. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Conte never did that. Mourinho never did that. Poch never did that. This guy, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I want this done. I'm here to do that. Okay, well, then we're going to hold you account to that.
Yeah.
If this goes wrong, which I think it probably will in the end, it is always going to be back on Levy because he hired him. This is Levy's idea. This is Levy's new project. This is Levy's new recruitment team. Paratici, Land, Scottman. It's always all roads lead back to the owner at every club. So if it goes wrong, it's full-blown Levy out. But in the meantime, is Ange doing the best with what he's got? No.
I would add, because I'm going to say something like what Iggy was saying about Champions League. And it's something I said on Dan's channel months ago. I said, I want Europa League. I don't want Champions League, because if you look at Champions League, in the whole time we've had it, we've had the lovely music that everyone wants to hear. Some new sponsors have come in. But I've been told that getting the Champions League money will bring Champions League players. Now, I can honestly tell, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Since we've qualified for the Champions League, whether it been the few years in a row under Poch, the year under Conte, Harry Redknapp, the only two players that have come in that you could say were Champions League elect when we bought them were Rafa van der Vaart and Ivan Perisic. And they were both at the top on the way down. Every single other player, you could say some Bale, we bought them, they weren't Champions League players. They've gone up and aspired to be Champions League greats. Luka Modric weren't a Champions League elect player when we bought him. He got to that level. I was told that the Champions League attract the better players and you'll bring the bigger players in. So I don't see any what Spurs gained from being in the Champions League this year, apart from hearing the champions and some new revenue streams opening up because the players wouldn't come.
It makes the fans feel better. It makes the fans feel better, Brian. If we turn around and say, it's like when people say to me, Conte got the club fourth. Brilliant. What was the difference? Conte got the club fourth, and then look at the signings we gave him, right? It would have been the same this year. We would have got Champions League football. The fans still would have had an excuse for when the club do not spend Champions League money. All year, right? All year, Brian, I've heard, you'll be laughing, Savva. Sorry, you'll be in the mud, Savva, because Spurs, FFP, PSR, PRA, whatever it is, all the other clubs, they're not going to be able to do anything. But we're going to be able to take advantage of that. I'm sitting and watching those exact clubs, Brian, in this window. The Chelseas, the Aston Villas, the Newcastles, West Ham, right? West Ham, where have they got all their bloody money from? They're signing everybody. And yet I'm sitting here watching Spurs do nothing. So what would have changed if we got Champions League football? No, for me, sorry, lads, nothing. Nothing.
The thing that's pissed me off with this as well, when you mentioned in teams, you look at it, we've known for a year we wanted Eze. I wanted him last summer over Maddison. We have dillied and dallied and fucked about with trying to get this, yet Bayern Munich sweep in, there's Elise. Guehi is in big talks with Newcastle. If he goes to Newcastle, Eze's pretty much dead anyway, but any chance of getting Eze, as soon as Guehi goes to Newcastle, it's done. So you look at, and I go back to it, this is why I thought this transfer team would not let Ange down. I thought the transfer team would back Ange. Ange would get his players in. And like I said, I'm still 100% behind Ange. But then you look at this transfer team now and the owners. If Bayern Munich go and pay a release fee, and this is for Vincent Kompany. This is for Vincent Kompany. But this is Bayern Munich, who've lost the league, got a mission. They are like, right, we're going to rectify everything.
Brian, this is crazy, man. Like, do you know you know what you're doing now? You're doing what so many other people did, right? I'm not going to go at you. We've known you for 30 years.
I'm saying this is top bad on top.
Every channel, right? When we signed Teemo Werner, I went parabolic. I went on the TV and I blew up the internet, right?
Yep.
That was the warning sign. That was the alarm bell. No fan said, you know what? What the hell are we doing? Is this not a repeat of 25 years of mistakes. This is the same mistake I've seen. This is another NG, another Nkudu, a Janssen. What the hell are we doing? That's how I felt when we signed him. So I lost it because I'm like, oh my God, we're going to do it again. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's beginning to panic. But they told us then when they signed Teemo what we're going to do. They don't give a shit. No serious big club signs Teemo Werner and thinks they're going to challenge for a league. He might have a slightly better season next season. That, for me, summed it all up. And since then, Beanies, Greys, Yangs, I mean, that's not what we were told.
I can't believe that you guys still back Ange. I think it's mad. I can't get on board with Stel and Brian. What you said? Why are you backing him?
Because I've never taken on the manager. Because it's Maz. The problem isn't I don't back. It's not the manager. Every single time, Maz, that this goes on, we as a whole go and blame the manager. I ask the manager.
Let me give you my reasoning.
It's him up there. Every single time the going gets tough. Every single time, like when Nuno lost his job. What happened? Levy out was sung for the first time. He doesn't like it. Oh, they're singing my name. Oh my God, out with the manager. Every time the going gets tough, because the fans will, and I'm talking about inside that stadium, turn on the manager.
I get that
15
point.
times in a row. 15 times in a row.
I get that point. However, it comes to the point, right, whereby you have to draw a line. And for me, that line was Conte. Conte outed effectively Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy. Therefore, anyone who comes in after Conte is then complicit with what Levy wants to do, unless they do exactly what Conte did. Now, Ange came in and gave us effectively lip service, is what the fan base wanted to hear. But then he's talked so much and flip-flopped so much, I don't think it's right to back him. Now, not backing him doesn't mean you agree with Levy and you're turning on the manager in the traditional sense, like the fans do because of whatever reason, some stupid reasons. But you've got to draw a line and say, look, the managers that come in know what they're getting themselves into. They're not stupid, right? Or maybe they are stupid, but they're grown adults. They know their history. Jose and Conte warned them. So why should we say, back the manager? I'm sorry. No, they've got to prove to us, right, that they're capable of being their own men. You don't go and tell a chef how to cook a meal. The chef tells you how he's going to cook it, right? And he also tells you what ingredients he wants. But not at Tottenham Hotspur. Daniel Levy goes to the chef and says, right, burgers and chips, everyone, but I want it to be Michelin star. Don't work.
Matt, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I find this really interesting because, like, if anyone was going to say to me, which two people in our fan base or our YouTube community hate Daniel Levy more than anybody else, obviously they're both here today, right? Take a bow, guys. It's going to be Brian Daigle and Stel, right? It's going to be those two guys. But do you know what? I get it. I get what they're saying. For me, I've always been of the opinion, happy to hear what you guys think about this. I've always been of the opinion, just because I hate Daniel Levy doesn't mean I have to get on board with every single manager we've got, right? So for me, do I think Postecoglou should be winning a league title with this group of players? No, I do not, right? Do I think we should be able to not concede 61 goals in a season with the squad we've got? Yes, I bloody do. Do I think that we should be able to not be 4-0 down at half-time to teams like Liverpool and Arsenal, 3-0, whatever? Yes, I do. Do I think that Ange Postecoglou's got the options that he could play wing-backs if he wanted to, with two of the best probably wing-backs in the Premier League in Udogie and Porro? Yes. Do I believe that he's got a really good playmaker in Maddison that he needs to stop crowding with every single player that inverts into the middle of the pitch? Yes. So that's why, for me, I'm not sitting here going, oh, Ange out, Ange out, Ange out. For me, I said we'd finish fifth last year. We did finish fifth last year. But for me, it was just the way that we were in the top four for so long with one game a week. And Aston Villa, who I was told last summer, by the way, guys, the abuse I got on my channel last year for saying Aston Villa would finish above us and have some very good players to get in our team. Aston Villa played the same amount of league games, obviously, and then 17 further European and Cup games on top of it. They played half a season more than us, right? Half a season more than us and managed to finish fourth. I'm sorry, that for me is where I put, like Dan says, that's where I put the failure on Postecoglou, right? So make of that what you will, but for me, I'm quite happy to blame both. I'm very happy to point fingers everywhere.
As I said, right, for me, Conte was the last manager I was going to... I was like Brian, right? I backed every single manager, apart from Nuno, because Nuno was a bit weird, right? But I backed every single manager that ever got appointed by Spurs. I always wanted them to succeed. I always wanted them to get their own way, you know, all that stuff. But for me now, Conte's laid the foundation of what the manager should be like going forward. He's outed the club. He says what we need to do. He's said what the ownership is like. Jose has since gone on to say what the ownership is like. So they need to do their due diligence, and they need to go into the club and say, no, these are the players I want. You have to give me a budget to be able to achieve that, right? And if they don't do that, sorry, I'm not your man. And I respect the managers that said no to Tottenham.
What, out of question then for everybody, so I can understand this myself, what is actually backing a player or backing a manager? Do I think Teemo Werner's going to bang in 20 goals? No, I don't. Do I think he's even going to put in 10? No, I don't. Do I think Angie's going to change his system? No, I don't. Do I think he's going to be gone by Christmas? Yes, I do. So does that mean I don't actually back them? I still want them to win. I still want people to be able to come on here and say, Dan, you got it totally wrong. Werner's banged in 25 goals and Angie's won us the league. So what actually is backing them? Is it lying to myself by saying he's going to do it 100% no matter what?
Angie's been backed, Dan. Angie's been backed.
Guys, just quickly, can I just interject 1 second? Oh, sorry. By the way, it's just been announced that West Ham have agreed a fee with Borussia Dortmund for Füllkrug. Yeah. They put their first bid in for Füllkrug officially 3 days ago. Just so you know, that's how quick it's worked. So the transfer fee is going to be 26 million euros, which my quick 21 million quid, something like that. 21 million pounds with 4 million add-ons, 3 million euros a year in salary, right? Teemo Werner's on 8 million a year in salary.
Savva, you were saying earlier on, Roma signed Bundesliga
25 million.
Yeah.
Euros, not even quid. So what I'm saying is, you can get players out there, but and get them done quick. I don't understand it, because for me, when you go and sign a player like Teemo Werner, it tells me that Tottenham Hotspur deem him as the best option on a left wing or left forward. That was the best option to go and get, and we bought him. That's it.
Iggy, right. Poch was backed. Nuno was backed. Redknapp was backed. They were all been backed because they accepted it. They accepted what was happening.
Yeah, listen,
right?
Still, any manager
Conte
after that
one.
Conte thing,
wasn't back,
right, any manager that accepts a Spurs job after what the world saw Conte do post Southampton, he's clearly doing it because it's a job and it's the best job they can get at that time. And saw this as a step up, and he took the job. But don't think for a second he didn't understand what happened with Conte and the fallouts with Conte, with Jose, and all of these guys. He knew exactly what he was getting himself into. So now you know what you got.
So it's complicit.
Yeah, of course it's complicit. He's doing it because he's on 2 million, 3 million a year, man.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. So that's why I was saying to Stel and Brian,
I will criticize the manager from a tactical point of view, from a player selective point of view.
I don't think we need to be politically correct in the football YouTube world to say, oh yeah, you know, Andrew's a great guy and all of that. No, sorry, I'm with Dan. Right? The guy's lying. He's lying and flip-flopping. In what world is that okay?
Can I say something to add on to this? I said it the other day.
Hi, Mari.
Hey, big up, guys. I grew up in New York City, and from birth, they teach you how to read bullshit, how to read and recognize and hear bullshit. His latest interview that he's just given today or yesterday, I mean, literally, I had violins playing in the background in my head and wanted to pull out the Kleenex tissue because excuses, excuses, excuses. And I'm with Maz and Dan, and that whatever that's coming out of his mouth is just PR bullshit to get our gullible fans really happy. That's what's.
But why that? What my point is, why does Postecoglou deem his responsibility to come out with all this PR bullshit? Why is he doing it? Why is he doing it to himself? Because at the end of the day, the first person that's going to be accountable for what he's saying is going to be him. The fans themselves are going to go after him based on what he's saying. Why would you do that to yourself? Why don't you just rein it in a little bit, keep quiet, focus on your football, and you know what? It's like, okay, look, we can turn around and say, look, he tried it, it didn't work out, but he won't be held accountable with the so many.
Who we have heard from this transfer window? We haven't heard a single word for Lange or Lange, however you pronounce his name. You have not heard anyone from the hierarchy, start with Lange, about.
So why doesn't Ange say we have people in the right roles that probably were best suited to respond the market and so forth? I'm here to coach a team, and I'm only going to be speaking about the players that I have at my disposal and what we're doing in training and what we're doing in matches. That's what I would want to hear from the manager. I don't want to hear a manager talking on behalf of the football club. We have the people you just mentioned, Flange, Paratici, and we have Levy. They can speak on behalf of the club. So why does Ange take it upon himself to feed us this PR bullshit when he doesn't need to?
Maybe
I don't understand it.
Maybe he's the sacrificial lamb, and Conte didn't want to be
more for him. More for him.
So me believing what Ange just said then, and that's either like, so I'm either gullible or he's either basically a liar. What one is it? I'm showing him the respect by holding him to his word and saying, I believe what you're saying. I believe what you're telling us. And it turns out that a lot of what he told us, he's gone such cock and ball on it and back to front on it and everything and that. He might as well have took his own kneecaps off with a double barrel.
Spot on.
So am I the gullible one, or is he actually a liar, or is he just what actually
this is what it goes back to. This is what it goes back to. We pick and choose as a fan base. We pick and choose which one of his comments we want to believe. So when I hold him accountable to his comments about winning titles and winning mentality, and he has a go at the Spurs fans last year, we need a better mentality. And then a few weeks after the season finishes, I see the bloke signing Teemo Werner. Sorry, mate. You told me to get a winning mentality. You've signed Teemo Werner.
Spot on, Savva. Spot on.
Right? That set the tone for this window. Now, I just want to clarify something. I've had to clarify about Fulkrug all week because people can't understand it. I'm not saying Spurs should sign Fulkrug. I'm not saying that. It's all context and relative, right? Context and consistency, bitches, right? West Ham as a club are making signings that elevate West Ham. Yeah? I'm not saying West Ham are going to finish above us. I'm not saying we should go for every player West Ham are signing. But West Ham have just got Somerville, who's a very good winger. Yeah? Wan-Bissaka's coming in. Really good right back defensively for them. Right? He's better than what they've got. They're bringing in Fulkrug, who's better than any striker they have.
In 3 days. Negotiation to sign in 3 days.
Exactly.
And we can't get anything over the line. Inbound and outbound.
They're improving as not just a squad. They're improving their first 11. Okay, we might have signed 2 players that have improved our squad. But have we actually signed anyone that improves Tottenham's first 11?
We don't want to. The club does not want. Daniel Levy and their management hierarchy do not want to sign the players that we want to see or do business early, because it means that they have to spend more money. He's got a hotel to build. That's all he's thinking about. It's not a coincidence that ever since this hotel has been announced, right, Ange comes in, rather than spending 15 million quid on a manager, right, they spend £2 million on a manager. There's no coincidence that we're having a big, massive clear out of the club to get the weekly wage bill down because it needs cash flow. So I predicted this. They do not want to do business this summer. Everyone was thinking we were going to have this amazing summer, and back on Tottenham away over the course of 6 months, I was like, no. Since November, I said this is not going to happen. I can see what's happening at Spurs. All the signs were there.
Man,
on the money side, then
Dan, our fan base is stupid, man. Like honestly, they're thick. I don't care. They're thick. They all summer it was we're gonna get Eze, we're gonna get Elise, we're gonna get Neto, we're gonna get Paulinia. Bullshit. Now we're linked to Solanke. Fucking Solanke, right? We built a £1 billion stadium for Solanke. Yeah. And what I'm seeing on social media is, do I think Solanke is a top striker? No. But do I think he fits in Ange's system? You bet I do. Shut up. Absolutely shut up.
Yeah.
How could either you're a top player or you're Kane fits in any system. Declan Rice fits in any system. Van der Ven fits in any defense, right? Don't tell me Solanke, we've handpicked data analytics. Lange's scouting team have said, do you know what? Solanke can work with the Angeball magic. Our fans are stupid, man. It's just stupidity.
I
can't.
On the money side of it, yeah, from what you said there, Mads, like he wants to save money, yeah. Maybe he's just not that much of a good businessman, actually. Because we go back to this thing of quantity over quality.
Every year.
Now, I haven't got the best way of describing things, so I just say it how I see it. When you get a man out there who is just, I don't want to use the phrase desperate, but just wants a bit of TLC. So he goes and finds himself someone, seems good, but doesn't really pay enough attention, gets married, and then has a divorce 2 years later. Then goes and does it again and again and again, like 3 times, 4 times. My man is now broke. He's got no house left and he's got nothing. But then you've got the other man that has waited, taken his time, found a solid woman, got a solid wife, now been with her 15 years, is better off in money, and he's doing it easy. Again, quantity over quality. Quality makes you more money, doesn't it? Because then you don't have to keep rebuying the players. Quality makes you the money because then you don't have to keep divorcing every 2 or 3 years to get a new partner. So,
but could I just, guys, I just want to say, I'm getting a lot of people in the chat that are saying, Savva, you've just got an echo chamber on. Listen, I don't think I've ever shied away, and as far as I'm aware, everybody on this panel isn't shy of having any conversation with anybody that feels differently. It's really difficult to get those people to come onto shows, right? It's very, very difficult to get those people to come onto shows that feel very differently. The problem is, guys, you've got to remember that between the ages of most of us in here, sorry if anyone is younger, between the ages of most of us in here, we've all seen Spurs, depending on the age, lift a UEFA Cup, FA Cups. We've seen Spurs sign quality like Jurgen Klinsmann, David Ginola, Berbatov. We've seen all this. So when we're talking about, oh, you guys are negative, we've seen it, and this is not what that was. Just for bring you in, Stel, just really, really quickly.
I'll ask you, who made that comment?
There's loads of people making that comment. Loads of people.
Those people making those comments that this is an echo chamber. I want you to do this, right?
Come on.
Like it, right? If you don't like it, you don't like the echo chamber. I want you to go to those channels that have a different view, that have a different opinion, and I want you to say this to them: get Savva and get Stel and get Maz, get us here, all of us, get us on their channels. Because if they don't have us on there, then they're an echo chamber as well. Because we are the alternative. So it's all good coming here calling us an echo chamber, but the channels that you rather watch are exactly the same. So you tell them, can you please get Savva on? Can you please get Stel on? Can you please get these guys on so that they can debate you? And do you know what? Then you've got the channel you want, but they won't do it.
No,
so it's all good well you're saying that, but I'm flipping it back on you, mate. The other channels are exactly the same.
Look, absolutely. Look, guys. Sam has said you guys sound like a broken. You sound like a broken record, lads. No, Sam. No one's.
I've told you what to do, Sam. I've
No
just
one's
told you what
forcing anyone
to
to
do.
be here. Look, guys. I want to move on.
Is there like a parallel world happening at Tottenham Hotspur that we're not aware of?
That's what I'm thinking.
What's happening? Because we're like a broken record, we're an echo chamber. What's happening in the Tottenham world right now that's different to what we're saying? Because I've clearly missed it. I've clearly missed what's going on there.
Look,
Yeah.
I want to bring James in, and just quickly, I want to move it towards players, right? Just before we do, Fabrizio Romano has just announced again that West Ham have agreed a deal to bring in Argentina international Guido Rodriguez. He played last season for Real Betis. He was meant to be joining Barcelona before Xavi left the club. So West Ham have now signed. Look, one thing you can say is I don't know how well they'll do, but no one can turn around and say that the West Ham manager is not being backed, right, for them. Let me start with you, James. Welcome to the show. I think it's the first time you've ever been on Echo Chamber TV. I mean, Football Heritage TV.
Yes, mate.
James, Dominic Solanke, that's the name. It came out, 24 hours ago. Dominic Solanke is the one that we're after, apparently. You know, pinch of salt, as we've always. Our fan base went from no one mentioning his name at all. All summer, I've heard Jimenez, I've heard Gyökeres, I've heard Tony, I've heard this, that, the other. Suddenly, it's, oh God, who could you get that's better than Solanke? James, I know you're a lot more positive about things. Solanke, is this moving the needle? Is this really what Spurs need?
Don't quote me on the exact numbers, but this geezer's played 139 games in the Prem and scored 29 goals.
133 and 29. That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm fucking buzzing. Yeah.
If Ange wants him, I want him.
Number 10. Make him number 10. Get him
sold.
in.
That's it.
Yeah, 100%.
We're the only club, by the way, we're the only club that will sign a player that plays a certain position, and then we think we should play him in a different position. So if we need a 6, we'll sign a 10. If we need a 10, we can play him in a 6. If we've got a centre back, why don't we play him defensive mid? I'm like, who does that, man? Just buy the geezer that you need in the position that you need him. Sorry, James.
Mate, it's true. But even the players that you're like saying, Solanke, you're talking of top money for this geezer. If we're going to believe the rumours that we're linked with him, then you've got to believe the rumours of the price. So they're talking 65 million for this geezer that scored one good season with 19 goals. I'll put this out as a tweet, like his stats, and I got so many DMs. You're an idiot. He come through Chelsea's academy, and I said, right, okay, like everybody that's come through Chelsea's academy is top. You know, I got told that I was negative. I was just like, mate, you're boring. Like, you're so boring.
Well, James, here it is. Here it is. Other than last season when he got 19 league goals, bearing in mind the geezer is 27 next month, his best ever return from a top flight was 6. And he has one good year, and we start going, oh, Dominic Solanke's what are we doing here? What? This is the best we can do. 65 million. We could get 2 Dominic Solankes.
Savva, we could have signed Fulkrug and that Roma striker with that same money.
Right.
And those guys, serious numbers. And he's German international, and the other one's a Bundesliga top scorer.
Or we could go and get Eze or someone else, whatever, and then just try it with, I don't know, Kulusevski and the young player we got. What's his name?
But why? You got Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, and Teemo Werner.
Yeah, but either way, what I'm saying is, why go and get someone of the same crap standards of what we've basically already got when we could just use the crap standards we've already got? We might as well just stick with what we got up front and at least go and spend that money on something good somewhere else.
With 65 million, you could probably have gotten both strikers and added maybe even Chiesa in that. You would have had all 3 of those with 65, 70 million.
Iggy, this Look, someone's just said you're manipulating the stats.
How?
I can't manipulate the fact. Look, this is this guy's career. This is his career. His best ever season in a top league before last year was 6 goals. If you look at his last 2 seasons, he's got 25 goals across 2 seasons, which is 12.5 goals a season. What I don't get is, Iggy, what kills me. I put out about a month ago that Atletico Madrid, this is before Roma bid for Dovbyk, Atletico Madrid have bid for Dovbyk, and it was 30 million euros. And I put a post out in my community page saying, now this is a signing and a half. This is a brilliant deal. 30 million euros, 25 million quid for the La Liga top goal scorer. Do you know what I got from most people in my community? Dovbyk's only had 1 good year in Spain. Dovbyk, look at his age. Dovbyk, not good enough. Could he do it in the Prem? The geezer's got 76 goals in his last 92 games of football. But then cue Dominic Solanke for 65 million, and all of a sudden, that's a signing. That's
what you're saying there, Savva, though. Surely it's worth taking a risk on that guy than it is someone that's had 1 good season in the Prem. We're gonna take a risk. You have a risk with someone that's scored goals, not someone that's had 1 good season.
And for £25 million.
I want to share something with you guys, right? I've just been reading up on it now. My biggest criticism of Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, Richarlison, and I was banging on about it all season. I've still gone about it. Is they go missing against the top 10 teams, right? They go missing. They're good in their comfort zone. Nottingham Forest games, Burnley games, Crystal Palace games, Sheffield United games, right? That is not the level we want. So I've just looked at Solanke's goals last year. You ready, guys? How many goals do you think he got against Man City last season?
None. I know this. Yeah. I did this.
Guess how many goals he got against Arsenal?
None.
No.
What about Liverpool?
None.
No.
What about Tottenham?
None.
No.
What about Chelsea?
No.
What about Chelsea? He came 6th.
No.
None. He got 1 goal against Villa, a penalty.
And 1 against Man United, who finished about
This is not a top-level performer. He is another Richie. He's another Kulu.
So what's the point on even bloody getting him then? What is the
point? Here's a question to the panel. How is this building a team? Because Andrew says, I'm really happy with the way that the team is shaping up. So how is this building the team? Someone explain it to me.
Well,
who is he better than?
If he's happy with how it's going, then obviously he's not so much of a great manager then, is he? Because surely he must be knowing in the back of his mind, this is going to lose me my job. So is he just going on borrowed time?
Can I just say, I see this comment a lot. And listen, you know what, guys, you know what it's like. You've got YouTube channels. You stick out a comment in your community section and just get a tin hat and just get ready for the pelters. Nearly every single comment I've completely exaggerated there, just like when I was dating my wife and I told her I was a millionaire. Not true. He's better than Richarlison. Guys, if anyone actually goes to the Premier League website, and you can do the player comparisons, if you actually look at the stats of Richarlison and Solanke, now you have to do a little bit of manual working out because it's not like for like in the number of games. Richie's played a lot more. But if you actually look at like for like their time in the Premier League, by the way, I don't really want either of them at the club. Richie's got much better everything. Passes, through balls, goals, assists, goals per minute, shots on everything Richie's got is better. So what we're doing here, guys, in my opinion, my humble little opinion, is we've got another striker who's had a decent season. His first decent season by the age of 27, right? And straight away we go, that's Spurs. That's what we need. Have we not learned? Have we not learned from Richarlison, from Ndombele's 1 good season in the Champions League with Lyon? Have we not learned Lamela with his good season at Roma? Are we not learning, guys, or are we literally just going to ignore facts and stats and just say, get him in because he got 1 year of 19 goals?
I think there's the only way I'll describe it is these people that make excuses for everything. It's like you're dating a 10 out of 10 and she's cheating every week, but you're like, yeah, but she's 10 out of 10. That's how these fans are. They're like, I support Tottenham. Yeah, they're cheating on you every week. They're taking all your money, splashing up the wall. Yeah, don't matter though. Don't matter. It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
It's like I said about the marriage thing. Go get married 3 or 4. Well, go get married twice, and you won't have a pot to piss in unless you're a bloody rich man. But again,
yeah, but that's not really fair to say.
On the Gray thing, quick, yeah. I can understand on people getting their hopes up with Gray. He's had one good season in the Championship. We don't even know what he's going to be like in the Premiership. Will he even be good enough for it? Only time will tell. But at least with him, you can say time will tell. Solanke's already proved he's lower than the bang average in the Premiership. And out of those 29 goals, he scored 19 of them last season. So to me, he's already 27. He's already showed that he really isn't too good. Whereas at least with someone like Gray, there is hope for the future if it goes right as such.
Dan, do you know another one I've had a lot today is this? Another one is people say about Gyökeres. Now, if any of you, again, it's why before I say things definitively, I go and do my homework. I've always been taught that, right? Know what you're coming to a stream with. Know the facts. Know the information. If anyone actually goes and looks at Gyökeres, where he sits in the percentile of strikers for nearly every single forward stat, all of his stats are in the top 95%. All of them. I'm not making that up. I will send this to you guys on WhatsApp, right? Everything. You look at Solanke's, other than the goals, he's not that great at anything. And again, if we're going to judge it on 1 year of finishing well, it shows that people aren't capable of critical thinking. It's got to be about more than just putting the ball in the back of the net if you're going to play up front in a team that are going to have 10 men behind them most games. You need a guy that can hold the ball up. You need a guy that can pass well. You need a guy that can run the channels. You need a guy that can bully the centre-backs. I just feel like we live in a vacuum of, oh my God, he's had a really good season, 65 million. I think it's madness, guys. I really do.
I think you can only judge. I think when you're bringing in for me personally, bringing in stats only says half the story. So they're all well and good, but they only say half the story. Because then the way I bring stats into people will say, oh, stats are not important. And I kind of agree, because if you look at David Ginola's stats for Tottenham, they're awful. But there's no way I'm having anyone tell me his stats weren't great, though, was they? Let's be honest.
Hang on. How old are you, James?
35.
Right. Listen, if you saw Ginola in his peak, right? Sorry.
No.
Hang on.
But I'm saying his numbers, though, his goals and assist numbers compared to him as a player.
Yeah, but James,
I agree.
Different football.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you only base your things on stats. So for me, I have to look at both. So I look at David Ginola on the eye, and what I was getting to, if you let me just finish my point, is that Gyökeres, not only is his stats good, the way he plays football is good. The way he gets on the ball, turns, that is half, for me, that is half of the player. He's twice the player of Solanke, because he'll take the ball on the half turn, beat his man, and then knock it off sideways. I've never seen Solanke do that. So that is sort of where I was going with that. It's like stats are important, but
my favourite all-time Spurs
player. He's mine. Yeah, he's mine.
Right. The thing is, football back in those days was a 4-4-2. So wingers in those days weren't scoring 15, 16 goals.
No, I agree.
20 assists. Nowadays, wide men are forwards, which is why when people try and compare Son to Ginola, and I'm like, well, they play in different positions. But
of course,
I hear you. People who watch Gyökeres will see he's a brilliant footballer to go with the goals.
Yeah, that's more what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
I love Ginola. He's my all-time.
Why we aren't throwing our financial muscle around, right? And taking advantage of the poor state of affairs that the Italian league is in at the moment. Go and get Osimhen. Whack 60, 70 million down. Get him.
Osimhen won't happen. We won't pay the 95 million for him, and we won't pay the wages that he'll ask for when he comes out of them. that would
Yeah,
not
but
happen with Spurs.
if we don't do it now, when the teams are on their arse, when are we going to do it? That means we're never going to do it.
I was telling Stell and Maz yesterday, I've been spoiled because all I knew was Berbatov, Keane, Defoe, then Bale, then luckily Kane, and this is this forward line, let alone bringing in Solanke. This is just meh.
We ain't
This
even
is-
bringing him. We ain't even bringing him. Don't even think we're bringing Solanke and paying 65 million for the Preza. It ain't happening, guys. It's not happening. We don't have the footballing ambition. We don't have the drive. We don't have the mentality. So why would any player, established player, that wishes to kick on, like Osimhen, all right, players like that, why would they want to come to?
No, they
What is it
wouldn't.
about? What is it about Tottenham that wants to make them come? Because let's be honest. There's only two types of players that we're going to make. Maybe three types of players. One that at the top of their game and they're in a downward spiral. Young players who can establish themselves and use us as a stepping stone to go to something bigger.
Mhm.
And three, established players at the top of their careers if we're paying them a ridiculous amount of money, which we ain't doing. So you tell me what kind of players we can bring at this club, because we ain't got nothing about the history. What about it? Trophies.
To top
win.
it,
Who
why
are
is
we going to establish? Who's coming over?
why
That's
is
how you
Romero
got-
going to stay with us when we
Well,
go?
what did I say,
off
Dan?
the
What did I say
Solanke?
earlier? I
Yeah,
said
exactly.
at this
That's what I
rate,
was about to
the
say.
likes of Vicario, the likes of Van der Ven, the likes of Romero, and any other players,
Doji.
they have no loyalties to stay at Tottenham. They're not loyal like Son, who perhaps some people are calling him stupid for staying as long as he has. All right, but they're not going to be like. They're going to look. They're going to get to 24, 25-year-olds. Van der Ven, I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
so much. Romero's probably got one big move again. Maybe Vicario and so forth. The others have got the age on their sides. They will kick on if nothing's happened at Spurs. Right now, Spurs, for any players who wants to come into Europe and into the Premier League, Spurs are good spring to go on to something bigger. We are not seen as the club. I want to make it happen here, mate, because we, as first of all, as a club, don't give out that ambition. We don't. And
But
managers.
we're not even behaving like a club that's looking for cheaper, good players.
We
Like
don't
Wolfsburg,
want that. We don't want that.
right?
There's
We're not even behaving
the
like
two-
West Ham, Maz.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
It's dead. It's dead. And I'm sorry, man, for those perhaps who are like joining us on a Friday night talking about Tottenham. It ain't pretty, man. It ain't pretty. And no one's going to tell us, and no one's going to tell you that it's pretty, man. And anyone that is, you need to seriously look into it and say, what are they selling you? Because we're telling you how we're seeing it and how I'm feeling about it. It's not great going into the season. That's why I'm completely and utter, like I said to Sav earlier on. I'll say, listen, there's nothing I won't say behind back scenes. I won't say here. Talking about Spurs of recent times makes me nauseous. It makes me nauseous because it's like it's the same old. And I don't know how I come back on board. Like, look, something big has to happen for me to really change my way of thinking, and I'm not seeing it.
Savva said this earlier today, right? Or it might have been yesterday's show. I can't remember. Everything's blurring into the same. Everything's the same every day. So
To the same 24-year period.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you look at Angie's last 6-7 signings on the forward lineup, it's god awful.
It's terrible.
God awful. And we were discussing this last night on Tottenham away, right? When you compare it to Poch's team and individual players in that team, we've taken such a big step backwards that we're not even trying to get to the level that Poch was. And the reason why we sacked Poch was to take that next step. So even using Levy's own words, he's not even doing what he said he was going to do.
Well, Maz, there you go. So, Maz, for anyone that hasn't seen this earlier today, this is a list of every single winger, wide forward, whatever you want to call them, and striker that Spurs have signed since Son. And the reason why I capped it at Son was because Son's come in and been an unequivocal success. This is every player since that has come in. Now, Bale, right? On loan, Gareth Bale, who was injured, not the Gareth Bale that was setting the world alight before.
He still scored 16 goals, by the way.
Sure did. But my point is, you look at this, look at that as a whole. Look how crap that is. Now, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including Werner twice, which is 7, that's Ange. Sorry, not Hill. The first 6, Felice, Solomon, Kulu, Johnson, and Werner twice. That's Ange's 6 players that he's signed in forward areas. Yet all I hear, guys, and this is where I want the conversation to go, all I hear is, but if Ange is given the tools to do his job, and it's not Ange's fault because the forwards aren't good. He's signed nearly every forward at this football club other than Richarlison and Son.
Yeah.
These are the forwards he's signed, guys. I'm not making this up. Felice, Solomon, Kulu, Johnson, Werner twice. That is what this manager has signed. So why are we to sit here and believe? Go on, Gee.
Kulu came under Conte, didn't he?
Yeah, but Kulu, this is the thing. This is where everyone needs to realise. Kulu wasn't an obligation to buy. He was an option to buy. And Ange at the time said, I triggered the clause because I like him. Okay. Right? So these are the players he signed. Yet the excuse I'm getting as to why we concede goals, the forwards aren't good enough. My man spent how much on Johnson? 50? How much money on Werner for 2 loan spells? 15? 65. Kulu was what? Another 30? 40? Solomon was a free. Valise was 15 million. If he buys Solanke, that'll be 65. That's over 200 million pounds worth of forward players this guy will have signed. How can we keep making excuses that this guy is a serial winner? Oh, I feel sorry for him. These are the players he's buying.
But on the ones that you said he's picked and bought, can't Levy look at that? On the ones that he's bought, basically, are you telling me that not even Levy would look at that and say, hang on a minute, Ange, you've got something ain't quite working there and we're spending 200 million? Because he's meant to be the one that don't want to spend the money or ain't got a clue, but Ange is the one who's picking them all. You would have thought even Levy would be looking at this and saying, hang on a sec, Ange, maybe we should try a little somewhere else sort of thing. We could probably get better for cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah, I disagree, to be honest. Reason being, there's no way Ange wanted Veliz. I reckon he was given, this is my opinion, I think he was given Veliz. I think Brian Hill was all Paratici, this Don Paratici.
Ignore Hill.
Yeah.
He should be later.
Solomon was a free, so that's Daniel Levy, signed, sealed, delivered. I reckon Daniel Levy probably saw Kulu in the first 6 months and thought, we have to sign this guy because he's worth more than that, so we could buy him and sign him. I think Johnson was Ange's, and I think Teemo Werner was he'll fill a gap and we'll sign someone else.
Hang on.
At the club, man.
Not having
Ange is a liar then. Ange is a liar.
Ange turned around and said, right, he's the only manager that has done this, by the way. Ange turned around and when we talk about him talking too much, this is what I think Danny means when he talks too much. Ange said, every single player who comes through this club, I sign off on. Now, do you know how you
I agree with that, though.
Right? Because he saw Teemo Werner and then went, you know what? I'll have him again. Now, the excuse at the time was he's a 6-month stopgap because Sonny's going to the Asian Cup, Richarlison's injured, and you go, all right, he's shit. This is me, by the way. He's shit, but all right, 6 months. Then when he's your first signing of the window, right? And Ange was quoted as saying something like, they said, what's happening with Teemo? And he said something along the lines of, I'm letting the transfer team deal with that. They know I like him or something.
They know my opinion. Yeah. They know my opinion. I'm leaving it to them.
Right. Okay. So, you can disagree vehemently, but at the end of the day, this guy says a lot. He spent 50 million on Brennan Johnson, right? He signed off on Kulusevski, Werner twice. Solomon, all right, was a freebie, whatever. Valise. So we're saying that this guy is not signing off on any of these footballers.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I don't believe he's picking any of these players. Like people are saying, these are his players. I don't believe that. I believe they're coming to him and saying, well, Teemo Werner or XYZ. And he's like, well, fuck me. I've got to pick one. And he's picking one or he's having the final say. But I don't believe he's going out there. I mean, do we all really believe that he's gone out there after last season and said, yeah, Teemo Werner's the one I want? Do we actually believe?
I do.
He's a liar.
Yeah, but
He's
that's
a
a different
liar.
conversation, Dan. Dan, that's a different conversation.
No,
We're
it goes
saying
back
about
to the
him
same
picking
from the
their
manager.
player.
James,
So
he's
do you
accepting
respect the
Teemo
manager or not?
budget. He's if the club have said we're only going to spend 5 million, he's accepted Teemo on the criteria that the club sets. But I agree with James on this, that they're not all his signings. But the problem is he's accepted the failed formula of the club when it comes to making
Agreed.
signings. So
100%.
what Mass did before you came on, he's complicit. And he's complicit. This is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. That's for me different though. That's what I'm saying. That's two different arguments.
One of my theories, and this is what. And sorry, Iggy, I know you need to jump, don't you? Sorry.
Take care, guys.
Much love, Iggy. Thanks
Big
for
up
coming
to
on.
the panel. Big up to everyone in the chat. See you later,
See you
mate.
soon. The next time we'll see Iggy is when Spurs sign a world-class player. So we'll see you in about 10 years, mate. See you, Iggy. Thanks for coming. I'll be dead by then. I'm going to throw this out, and this might be controversial. I'm just going to say it. A little theory I've always had is Ange is used to having players of a level of Brennan Johnson, of Teemo Werner, players that if they played for Celtic would rip it up, right?
Agreed.
He's used to having that caliber of player. My theory, and this isn't taking anything away from Daniel Levy, my theory is that I think he thinks he can work wonders with these players who are average in the Premier League the way he won things with them at Celtic and in Japan and in Australia. I don't think he knows what a top player. He's never managed a top player, has he?
And Savva, to back you up, I think you're 100% spot on. If you look at his form, once the team sussed us out, we were 16th in the league. That's relegation form.
Agreed.
And that proves what you're saying, right? He thought that he could replicate what he did at Celtic and the previous leagues, and he's bringing in the same players, and he's being found out, and his signings are still reflective of how poorly the things have gone, because he's going into the pre-season and the friendlies. His tactics haven't changed. He's putting kids in. The first team 11 I've regressed over and above what they did last year. I would have thought that, well, he said to us that watch what happens in the second season. Well, I ain't seeing it so far.
We will regress that second season. I mean, we are going to regress. I know people have said, oh, you're going over the top, Mari. Oh, you're being delusional. Excuse me, I'm hearing other YouTubers, Spurs fans, saying that we're much closer to the top 4 than the top 8. I'm like, are you crazy? I look at our starting 11. We have not improved. We have not improved, and there's a good chance we are going to regress. We joke around about, we talk about giving up 61 goals this previous season. It can be worse. It can be worse. It's not too far-fetched that we can finish 7th or 8th. It is not far-fetched. Yeah, and I'm getting all the criticism like, oh, Mari, that's crazy. This team is better than, we're better than this team. We're better than this team. We're better than this other team. And I'm looking at that starting 11, and I'm like, no, I would rather have West Ham starting 11 from top to bottom.
No, I disagree with that. Not at all. I reckon this team is good enough to get top 4 or, well, not so much 4th or 5th. I think the problem with his team is more down to Ange's tactics.
No, Dan. No, we're not good enough. Our midfield is, I'm going to say it. Excuse my French. It's shit.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as you're making out. I'm now going to be the more positive one on this. If you play a team, if you play an average team, bang average team, but play it to the right, as I put it, to the right formation that suits everyone, and get everyone in their not just right position, but their right tactics of what they're good at, you can make a bang average team good. Or you can go and get a team of world-class players. You play them in the wrong formation, and you play them to the wrong tactics to how they play, you can make a world-class team look bang average. He plays 5 players in that team, 5 players I can name, that he might put them in the right position, most of them, but he plays them totally out of their quality. 2 wing backs. They should not be inverting. They should be overlapping. There's the first 2. Kulusevski should not be on the right. Savva, I said this to you over a year ago. He should not be played on the right. He should be played in the middle. I'm not saying he's great, but you'd see better out of him.
I'm gonna go, cool, Alex.
Let me finish it. But you would see better. You go and play Bentancur and Basuma. You go play Basuma as he's box to box, but mainly focus on the pushing forward bit instead of the sitting back bit. Again, you'll see the most wanted player in the Premiership out of the top 6 teams, which he was. Ange doesn't do it. You go and get that team we've got and playing each of them to their right tactic. It's like what England done with sticking Foden out on the bloody left. They would be better.
I agree that Ange is out of his element, but it could be both. That Ange is out of his element and this midfield is not good enough. Pep Guardiola, people are hyping him up. I watch him lose balls like left and right. Like, yes, he has potential, but he's not ready yet. He's not ready to fully start, right? I'm watching Kobe Manu, who's younger than him, boss in midfield. So it's different
because they're playing him the right way, though. They're playing him what he's good at.
See,
Sar's not being played out of position.
No, I agree.
I'm not on about Sar. I'm on about Basuma, Bentancur.
I agree with Dan and Savva. I sort of disagree with you on getting we should get a good number 6. Of course we should, right? But I think Ange's tactics are so suicidal, right, where the defense compresses the midfield so much, right, that I don't think it's going to make a difference. Because all it takes is one ball over the top and we're done. We just rely on Van de Ven running back.
Stick the best defense ever there. And I've named my favourite one of all time, and that's the AC Milan one of Cafu, Maldini, Nesta and Stam. Go stick them there. They're still going to concede over 40 goals, and that will never win you a league. Never.
And I'm going to say this again about Basuma. There have been 2 or 3 times, right, where on the counter, the dude is jogging back.
Because that's not his style, Mike. That's not his.
That's called laziness. I don't want that on my team.
Call it what you want, but if you know the player's going to be lazy in that aspect, but he's going to be strong in that aspect, playing to his advantage. When he played Brighton, he was the most wanted midfielder in the Premiership. He bossed Man City, bossed Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal. Liverpool were going to pay 70 million for him, but they wanted 85. But we play him to focus more on his weak spot, his lazy spot, his defence bit. So play a player to his perks, to what he's best at, not what he's worst at.
Guys, can I? We'll come back to this. I've let super chats go so. I need to get them all out of the way quickly. And then someone remind me, because I will forget in the next 2 minutes. I want to talk about the number 6. Because for me, I don't know if any of you saw my video this morning. I said Spurs could buy Maradona and Messi, right? Not Maradona. We could buy a prime Maradona and Messi. If we do not buy a number 6, you're going to concede so many goals, right? We'll come to that in a second. Let me see if I can get through these. Big up Mark Taylor, who's become a new channel member. Big up to you. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your support. Same goes to you, Eugene. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of opinions, but big up to you. And you get to come on as well and have your say. Big up. Thank you so much for being a channel member. Big up to the Big D, which is what my wife calls me. No, but she doesn't. It would be better if Anne said nothing. We have no plan. I agree with this completely. Big up the Big D. Thank you so much for all your support. GC is a problem. Higher profits equal higher Levy dividends. Standard. The guy pays himself the most money of any chairman in the Premier League and is absolutely happy to lose every single season. Big up to you, my man. Only One Hotspur TV has been a member for 11 months and said, can't believe it's been 11 months already. I know, doesn't time fly when you're having fun looking at my beautiful face all the time? Big up to you, my man. Appreciate it. Oryx Beats, always in here, has said number 1 priority should be Gyökeres, cash plus Solomon, or an easy 40 million for Tony. Number 2 priority, Bakayoko. 3rd priority, Edison, cash plus Bentancur. Food for thought there. And we're going to go into some of that in a minute. Big up, Oryx. I really appreciate you. KJK has said, you were just sad. Yeah, I'm very sad. It's really hard. I'm trying to get through my life. Fanboys of other clubs. Fanboys. I don't know what this means. We bought Modric, Bale, Dembele. Right? So what? I
How
don't know
long
what this
ago was
means.
that?
Yeah, I remember Spurs buying Gaza. It doesn't really mean much now, does it? But big up to you. Thank you for paying to call us sad. That
Can I add something to this? Can I add something to this?
Go for it.
So my son is 11, right? And every season I'll get him the Spurs top or the kit. And I said to him this year, "Who do you want on the back, mate?" And he went, "No one." That says everything.
What would you have
When
done
I
if you
was
said
growing up,
Teemo?
like you said, Gaza. I mean, even the crap players like Darren Anderton was just a baller. Right, he was never fit, but you had players like that around. Now I said, "Who do you want?" He goes, "Nah, no one."
No, I just completely get it. Completely get it. Big up to you. Thank you for that. Anthony Lafleur. Big up, Anthony. Thank you so much for your kind donation. Has said, big up Savva in the panel, and agreed to the Levy motto of not being ambitious, and it's been the same results of your club not winning trophies. By the way, you guys are welcome for us taking on Chicken Royale at Milan. Listen, all I can imagine is that your scouts are dreadful, but thank you if you do take him. Really appreciate it. One of the worst defenders I've seen in a Tottenham Hotspur kit. Big up to you, Anthony. Really appreciate that. Oryx Beats has come in and said, anyone who defends Levy has brain damage. I mean, there's nicer ways to say it, but I understand what you're saying. Big up Oryx Beats. A couple of comments I liked and I thought I'd bring on. First and foremost, Sports Lover. Again, I don't know how long you supported Spurs, but I can't disagree with this enough. You guys were in the toilet when Kane left. I'll pick that up in a second. You got to fifth playing attacking football. I will bring that up in a minute. And now he's shite. First of all, no one said he's shite. I just don't think he's special. There's a huge difference. Sports Lover, you are hearing what you want to hear. Just because I don't go on this Ange train and the hype doesn't mean I think he's shit. I just don't think he's that great. You guys were in the toilet when Kane left. Why were we in the toilet? That doesn't make any sense. Kane told Ange on day one of Ange joining this club that he was leaving. That gave Ange and the rest of the club a whole summer to find a forward. What they did was buy Solomon, Valise, Johnson, and Kulu, right? So, no. Lastly, playing attacking football, very subjective. Very subjective. A lot of the games we played, I thought we were very poor and had a lot of possession for possession's sake. Possession isn't attacking football always. So I disagree with that. And Hector Rico said, with everybody fit before the Maddison injury, there were no complaints about the football or level of players. Hector, there were no complaints from the people that got carried away. If you had watched me and many others, we said, this isn't sustainable. We're being very lucky in many games.
We played better without the full team available. When the full team was actually available is when we actually started going down. Get the facts right.
And they suddenly forgot the tactics as well.
I just want to address this one person, AY of 444. I mean, what, 944? AY
44. There's a lot of people in it, by the way. Smash the likes. Sorry, mate. There's so many comments. Where am I going? 944.
944. AY. His comments after Scott.
Oh right, yeah. Murray is funny. Maynard,
yeah. I'm just gonna be quick with this.
Go for it.
Number one, I've seen Mano with his one or two mistakes boss some games, and actually a big key in rejuvenating Manchester United and helping Ten Hag keep his job so much that he got called up to the England team. So, not saying that Sarr doesn't play for his national team, but Mano impressed so well that he got called up to the England team and boss games. Maybe one game I saw Papa Sarr kind of boss the game. Maybe one. So I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. And I know he's still young, but for me, he loses the ball too many times to my liking. That's just me. That's just me.
Look, completely agree. Look, guys, I want to start this next conversation off. Before I do, thank you for giving me the time to read those out, guys. There's 508 people in here, 267 likes. We should be on 400. Let's get those like buttons smashed, and please do keep subscribing. We're only 115 away now from the 13K, which is where we were before I took a little bit of a hiatus, should we say? Guys, all the talk this summer, let me get rid of that. All the talk this summer is about wide players and forwards. Wide players and forwards. There seems to be this belief that if we suddenly have better forwards, we're suddenly going to stop conceding goals. I've gone on record. This is only Richard Savva's opinion. I've even full named myself for this one. This is my opinion only. I don't think it matters, guys, who we sign up top. If we do not do one of two things, either buy a real quality number 6 that sits in there and protects that back 4 and turns it into a free when both fullbacks invert, or if Ange doesn't tweak this system to stop us having 2 defenders trying to cope with every single counter-attack on the transition. That is why I don't rate him as a manager. It is suicide. I'm watching the K-League team do it to us. Hearts did it to us and should have been 3 or 4-0 up. QPR did it to us. It can't go on. Discuss.
Everyone keeps saying we need a 6, and yes, we do, but we don't play with a 6. We don't play with a DM. We use Basuma. Yeah, but he don't.
I know.
So it's all good. So it's all good getting this DM, but we wouldn't even use him as a DM. We'd use him as a box to box.
I don't even think we need.
That's what he does with Basuma. He uses him as a box to box, but more as a comeback than go forward, and that is Basuma's weaker spot. He's better at getting forward. We need a box to box who can defend and attack as good as both. And give me a couple
in my
of them,
opinion,
few and far between.
In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I don't think we need a 6. I would play 3 at the back. I think we are perfect for 3 at the back. Van der Ven, Romero, and Dragushin. That's for me. I look at that and think you ain't getting past. That's solid.
Overlapping wing backs.
But isn't the problem though? Even if we play 3 at the back, he's still going to really want to play a high line, and we're still going to get
but
done with the
if
ball
you
at
leave
the top.
3 at the back though, when you are under the cosh, you've got that extra support. And if you had Romero and Dragushin who actually like defending, their first thing is like, can I defend? I think that solves all that problem.
Didn't he? Didn't he? Near the end, he started putting on Dragushin.
And we actually played better, weren't it? Like against City, when Van der Ven went basically left back, we played better. But half the time, we got back and...
James, I agree with you. We have got the perfect back 5. You've got the 2 wing backs that were wing backs at their previous clubs that hug the touchline and love going forward. You've got Dragushin, who is the guy who's just going to head absolutely everything out. Isn't the guy that brings the ball out. He's the one that sits in the middle and heads everything. You've got Van der Ven, who's your pace covering on the left, who'll mop up absolutely everything, loves to bring the ball out. Romero is your warrior on the right who loves to bring the ball out. For me, it's a no-brainer. But my point of the number 6, James, is with the way we play with 4 at the back or 2 at the back, if we keep losing the ball in the transition the way we do, and we will, because like Mari said, our midfield is not good. We keep pretending it's good. Bentancur's brilliant. Sarr's brilliant. Basuma's brilliant. None of them can keep hold of a football. Teams transition. And I don't care if you've got Maldini and Baresi back there. For anyone who's too young to understand that, go and look them up. You could have Maldini and Baresi at centre-half. If they're 4-on-2, teams are going to score. And that, for me, is as big an issue as buying a centre forward and a winger that can beat a man. Otherwise, we're going to score 80 goals in a season and still concede 50 to 60. I just don't see how we stop goals going in if we don't.
Agreed.
5 at the back is not boring football like some are saying. It's not when you play it the right way. Absorb the pressure and then bang, counter-attack, score the goal. That is when 5 at the back actually looks very good. When you've got the right team to play it the right way. Inter Milan.
Leverkusen.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, it does look good if you've got the right team to do it. When you've only got a team like Conte had, it's going to look terrible.
Well, this is what I said though, because I got pelters for saying, and this is two different conversations. I think Eze is a fantastic player. I do not think Eze is going to be a fantastic player in Ange's system. He's more of a player that wants to cut in like a Kulu. So when he goes out wide, he's going to want to come in the middle. Ange plays players like Teemo Werner and Johnson who want to hug the touchline and get in behind. So for me, if you went three at the back, you could then bring Eze and Maddison in the middle and have Udogie and Porro wide. You've almost got a front four there of
Agreed.
one striker in the middle. You could then get away with Solanke, to be honest. If we changed everything up and put Eze and Maddison in the midfield with Solanke, Udogie overlapping and Porro, I think I'd accept Solanke because it don't matter how good he is, we're going to score goals in that sort of system.
I don't know. I agree. I agree with everything you said there, James. For me, I feel like there's too many players that are square pegging round holes. You've got two fullbacks that aren't fullbacks. They are not fullbacks. I don't care what anyone says. So when all our fans are going, oh, but Porro didn't go to the Euros. Why would he? Spain don't play with inverted fullbacks. Spain played with Dani Carvajal, who's a fullback that went on the outside, right? You've got two fullbacks that do that. You've got three central midfielders who are kind of nothingy. I don't know if they're 8s or 10s or 6. They're just kind of nothingy. You've got wide men that should be able to beat a man but can't. You've got Son up front when we want him on the left because he can beat a man. James Maddison playing in the 10, but so is every bloody one else in the Spurs team. All inverted into space. No one's playing
on that point though. I do disagree. Right, I don't think that Johnson and Teemo actually hug the byline at all. I think
agree.
that we're really narrow. We've become even more narrow because our fullbacks are inverting as well, so which is congesting the centre of the park. And if you watch Porro and Udogie, no one ever crosses the ball when they're at the penalty box. They always cross it 10, 15 yards in front of the penalty box. Right, so those overlapping runs aren't happening. The only time there's a cross coming in from the side is when we do a little through ball into a Teemo or into a Johnson, and then they try and create a tap in. So I think his football's crap. His football is crap.
I don't like it. It's not this attacking. I've said it 100 times. As all he had to do to win the fan base was kick the bloody ball forward. Any one of us and on the side could have won this Spurs fan base. It was so broken. It was the easiest job a manager ever had.
I agree.
Kick the ball forward and he won 80% of the fan base.
Do we think that do we think Levy's still trying to build a squad for Poch?
We've built a squad that Conte would love. We've built a
Poch
squad
and Conte, Mate, I'll go on record to say that this is a top 2 squad for Conte. 1 or 2 players, Conte gets you top 2 in this squad.
I agree. Maybe not 2 for me, but I agree that
1 or 2 players in, I reckon we'd be all over that.
I disagree a bit here, boys. I've been to pretty much most of the home games. I switched off towards the end of the season, but when it clicks in patches, it could be a 10, 15, 20-minute patch. The way we move the ball from the back to the wide, to the middle, to the wide, I think it's actually top draw. I'll go back to that second goal we scored against Chelsea that was ruled offside, which would have allowed us to go 2-0 up. That would have been one of the best goals I've seen Spurs score in a long, long time. I think when it clicks, this football is banging. The problem is this. It's in so many sporadic few patches that overwhelmingly most of the game is underwhelming. And it's because the players are not good enough to play the way he wants. And this is the issue I've got with the players we sign. They're not... I can see exactly what Andrew wants to do. And I've said it before on Savva's channel. I get it. It'll work. But not with these players. And the players he's signing, look, with these youngsters, I've got no idea, man. Until they play, I've got no idea. But with Teemo Werner, it will not work. He breaks up the play.
I don't know if I agree with you there, because surely a system, right, where every system has moments of magic for like 5-10 minutes, right? Where a team's on the top and things are working well, right?
Yeah.
And if you're relying on a system where everything needs to be perfect to execute that strategy,
Well,
and
not
that,
perfect. It needs the players to be good, really good.
at a very high level, then
Pep
is that then a good
Pep
tagline?
Guardiola
Yeah, but-
came to the Premier League in his first season, and it didn't quite work. And I remember the pundits saying, "You can't play tiki taka here. This is the Premier League." He went to Goodison Park. I remember this game. Everton battered Man City. Now, what Pep did was this: didn't change the way they played. He went and spent 300 million on 4 fucking top players, and you know what? Not only did they win the league, they broke the record for the most points.
Yeah, but
there you go. There you
He
go,
signed,
then, isn't it?
he signed the players to play his method.
Hang on.
That's what
Hang on.
happened.
For
Ange's
all
not signing
those-
those players, though, Savva. Ange's
For
not
all
signing
those
those
that think
players.
this is an echo chamber, look, we're all disagreeing now. Look, Stel, for me, I agree with Maz. I think because Spurs put a couple of neat passing moves together, that is an outlier rather than that's the way we play, right? I saw the back end of last season, Crystal Palace putting together some wonderful bits of play. It doesn't
guys,
mean
they
that
did a good job. Yeah.
doesn't mean that the football is amazing all the time. The difficult thing for me with this is everyone wants to be Pep Guardiola, right? Everyone now in football, every manager tries their own version of Pep ball. I hate that saying, but everyone tries to be Pep. The problem is, I agree with you still. We don't have the players to play the way Ange wants to play. However, I still think even if we have better players, the system is suicidal. And a Pep, who is, do we all agree Pep is the world's best coach? Like, I mean, right?
Yeah.
Pep, who is the world's best coach, doesn't leave 2 men at the back for transitions. Pep Guardiola will have one that inverts. It will either be Walker to tuck in and make it a free, or Ake and Vardiol for when Walker goes, make it a free that way. They then have that free and Rodri sitting there protecting. So that if they give the ball away, they've got 4 men back that can hunt and win it back. Ange's system, hang on, still. Ange's system, even if played to an absolute perfected state, right? You've still only got 2 players at the back, because I've never seen a manager ever, and tell me guys if I'm wrong, win league titles being that gung-ho with your defence and having 2 fullbacks at the same time inverted into midfield. I've never seen anyone achieve that ever.
Right. Notice how I've always said, I think Ange is a good manager, not great. Because if he was great, he would do what you just said, and in certain games adapt. Like you can't do that every single game. I'm in a complete agreement with you. I also think if he had a better 6/hybrid 8, we're not conceding as many. He hasn't got that player, but the problem is he still hasn't signed that player.
Agreed. He's had like 12 signings still. Not one of them has been a bloke in midfield.
But his idea,
defensive-minded.
I want to separate the two. I'm defending his idea. I'm criticizing his execution.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't even think he's a good manager. I think he's an okay manager. Because a good manager, I mean, because there aren't many great ones out there, but a good manager would have already realised the stuff he should have realised after about 12 to 15 games, not 35 games. I don't even think he's good. I think he's okay. He knows what he wants to do. I get what he wants to do. But again, the Premiership is too good for
Dan,
Ange.
he got us 5th.
And that
without
is
Kane.
why
He got us 5th without Kane. That's good, mate. 5th without Kane is good. It's not great. It's not wow. It's good. Yeah, I think it is. Without Kane.
But then look how poor other teams are.
Can I add to this? Can I add to this?
So disingenuous. Half our fan base were talking about we should be winning a league title last year.
No, that's
And
stupid.
now-
but that's stupid.
but hang on. All right, it is. But those same people that were going, we can win the league, are now going, Spurs should have finished 10th. And you're like, whoa, hang on. After 10 games.
I'm not them. I'm not them.
No, I know you're not them. But listen, it can't be. It can't, we can't have it always, right? And
Savva, he can be a good manager. He can be a good
I'm not
manager.
saying he
He's not
can't.
good enough.
Still,
I don't think he's good
all
enough.
I ever hear is the excuse that Kane left. oh, he lost Kane the week before the season started.
He never had Kane.
He never had Kane as a manager, and he knew 2.5 months earlier that Harry Kane wasn't going to be at the football club. So he had 2.5 months. Him, the scouts, the owners, they had 2.5 months to go and find Ange. Not saying another Harry Kane, they don't grow on trees, but to go and find the forward that plays Ange's style. What they came back with was Brennan Johnson, Valise, Solomon, and Kulu.
Yeah, because the problem there is they knew Kane was leaving, right? They knew, which is why they signed Richarlison. A lot of people who signed Richarlison said he's going to be the Kane replacement. Just you wait and see. I remember that argument. But what happened is they signed Richarlison as the Kane replacement, which is not a Kane replacement, but that's what they decided to do. Then they sacked the manager they bought him for. Well, Conte left. So now they're stuck with this £65 million striker that doesn't fit the new manager that comes in. So now Spurs, as always, got themselves in a mess. And Ange paid the price of that. But Ange accepted that as well. He did accept that situation. So it's a bit of
I think I'm in the middle of both of you in the respect of I think Ange's football. Yeah, I think Ange's football is better than people make out. But I also think that for me, realistically, I think the front three is awful. Not including Son, but Son's on the downcline for me. I think Pape Sarr, I've never seen someone give the ball away so much, but he runs a lot, so fair play. Bissouma last season was absolutely dreadful. He don't run forward or back. He can't make a 3-yard pass. Bentancur was out. Maddison was good for the first 10 games, never again. So I've always said the second season is when I'll judge Ange. He's had the first things. This is the season where I'll say, right, you've had your chances to make your mistakes. You've had your chances to learn from your mistakes. And if you don't change it this season, then you're shooting yourself in the head. But I can't say to him, you underperformed. You got us 5th when I've just reeled off 7 players that weren't good enough or they're not very good.
Yeah, but James, the difficulty is this is where our fan base, this is where I lose credibility for a lot of the fan base, right? Or I lose their credibility, so to speak. Is 1 minute it's, oh my God, Papa Sarr's generational, Bissouma's brilliant, Bentancur is absolutely world class. He gets into every team above us. Oh, Brennan Johnson's a really good signing. You watch him come good. Sonny's the best striker in the world. Oh my God, the 2 fullbacks are brilliant. The centre halves are brilliant. The moment we start losing games, but he hasn't got the players he wants, so the squad isn't good. This is why I can't believe when a lot of fans flip-flop from, but the players aren't good enough to, oh my God, these players are brilliant, right? Ange last season for me, James, if we want to break this down, Ange is the first manager at Spurs in, someone who correct me here, 16 years. It was the first time in 16 years we didn't have Europe. Is that right? Something like that?
I don't know.
Right?
Since
Ange Postecoglou had these guys on the training pitch every single day of the week, right? Monday to Friday, he's got all these players on the training pitch. There was no excuses for travelling. There was no excuses for midweek European football. There was no excuses for cup runs. But we got worse and worse and worse as the season went on, James. Now,
I agree.
If Spurs had a really shit start playing Ange ball and then throughout the season had gone like that on that trajectory, I would have said, yeah, the players are buying into what he does. His tactics work. Look how they're improving. But they went like this. Then you get the excuses. Yeah, but the players were out injured. Our worst form of the season was when every single one of our players was fit.
The reason we went off
the season was when Van de Ven, Romero, Porro, Udogie, Bentancur, Maddison, Son, they were all fit and everyone was smacking us up left, right and centre. The tactics are shit.
Just the end of the season, sorry, Maz, just the end of the season, the last 10 games, for me, and I've defended him, we've gone a bit toe-to-toe tonight, that is all on Ange. His stubbornness on set pieces was diabolical.
Oh, yeah.
Playing skip at left back against Liverpool at Anfield, Chicken Royale against Chelsea, that is all on the manager. No fan can defend that. They were his
messing around with Kulu, right, left, centre,
It completely backfired. All of his decisions. That I won't defend him on. I won't.
unlike Poch, where Poch started slow and then ended on a positive note.
Yeah, Chelsea went like that.
Yeah. And with Chelsea, and even at Spurs, his first season, he
Yeah,
started
same.
rough, and then by the end of the season, it was a positive momentum going to the second season. And it's been backwards in the sense of
because I genuinely think that the players are thinking, what the hell are we doing here with this suicide football? And
That's
they
what
stop
it looked
believing
like.
in him,
Agreed.
right? And another thing as well is that he didn't buy in good players, and he didn't actually, for me, improve anyone.
I agree.
Like, mate, the argument you could say is Porro improved, but then Porro came in mid-season and Conte left, you know, and there was 13 games left. So you can't. It's very difficult to say Porro improved because of Ange. So then, who actually improved under Ange?
I thought Romero had a fantastic season last season.
He had a
Maybe
good
Romero.
season.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
still
Maybe
don't- I
Romero.
still don't think he was as good as Van der Ven.
No,
On
you're
another
right.
point
Yeah.
with it,
No, I won't
a
give him
good
that.
manager.
I wouldn't give him that credit because Romero's already a player of the year coming from Serie A.
Agreed.
Yeah, fair
Agreed.
enough.
And,
Fair enough. Yeah,
and then,
yeah. So it's not improved. It's not
Yeah,
actually
but that
improved,
wasn't
right?
but he had a season before that at Tottenham, and he wasn't. Last season, he was much better than the season before.
because
Yeah,
he played
but
But he did have better cover this year.
because VDV came in, Van de Ven came in, the defense was a little better because he had better
And
quality.
he had a bogey, and he had
Clement
Ricardo.
Longap, Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, Sanchez.
And Maz, the funny
Skipping
thing is,
Højbjerg, double pivot.
Maz, look at all the shit defenders you've just named, and they conceded two
Less
more
goals.
Yeah.
than this brilliant defense.
Yes,
Now,
the tactics. It's the tactics that cost us defensively.
You know
The
what?
other thing
Still,
is
that's
with a
my point.
manager.
Still, that's my point. So if
But I
we're
agree-
not doing that,
I've
that has
agreed.
to be
I've
leveled.
agreed on that.
I've
That
got
has
3
to be
killer
leveled
points.
at Ange's
This is-
tactics.
I've
but
got
this is
3
what I
killer
said.
points.
This is
Right,
my
and I'm
point.
gonna, sorry,
It's the execution that he's getting wrong.
Still, I've got 3 killer points, and I'm nicking this from you. That what you said last season. We trained like under 10s every training video. Stell would come on and say, "What is this I'm watching in a training video? Is this under 10 training that I do with my kids?"
It's true.
Right?
The drills, yeah.
We had Jedinak as the defensive coach. Let's be honest, not a very good defender. So, and as he's proven with his record, he's actually not a very good coach either, right? And you had Ryan Mason on the set pieces.
Well, I actually know someone. I actually know someone inside, obviously the first team. I went to school with him, and he said to me that there's already big problems. People like Madison have come in and kind of want to rule the streets. Doesn't like all the kids being involved and things like that. So he doesn't pass them. He doesn't talk to them. He doesn't get involved with them. So Ange's this season is going to have problems.
Yeah, but James,
Well,
the
the
alarm
thing is,
was
a player
pretty
like
good
James
manager.
Maddison has won things. A player like James Maddison probably wants to look around and go, right, who are we bringing in? The same
Agreed.
way Son, Kane for years must have been looking around the change room going, right, who are we bringing in this summer? Who's that kid? Who's that kid? Who's that kid? Do you know what I mean? Look, guys.
This is where in a way, and obviously I know none of you like Ange, but this is in a way I feel a bit sorry for him, because if he's been told things, he's come in and he's gone, Madison's one of the first signings, right, we're moving in the right direction, and then been offered the likes of Teemo fucking Werner and stuff after that. It can't be easy for him because he's trying to die on the sword. He's fighting the battle on his own on the hill, because Levy fucking ditches him. He's like, yeah, no, you ain't getting back now.
then he
Like,
shouldn't
let's
have made
face it,
half the
we all
statements he
said from the moment this transfer window opened, the first thing that come out is he wants Conor Gallagher. That was the first thing that come out. So if Ange wants him, whether you agree with him being good enough or not, you buy him, and he
But
still has him.
James, right, I'm with Dan on this,
Like
right?
Teemo Werner.
And we've been saying this for ages as well. If Ange managed the fans' expectations and didn't say 3/4 of the stuff he said,
I
we would
agree.
all be having a very different conversation.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's
Other
all
thing-
he's making, and that's the problem. And
Agreed.
that lies with him.
And half
Agreed.
the fan base, Maz. Maz,
yeah,
and,
correct.
And half our fan base, what I find hilarious is that all season, Savva, you're negative. You don't think we're going to win a league. Oh, Savva, we're brilliant, Savva. Then when we finish 5th, where I predicted all season, I'm still negative somehow. Now they've doubled down on it. Look at all these people doubling down. Oh, you don't know Ange, because Ange in his 2nd season is brilliant. Yes, in Celtic, in Australia, in Japan, this is the Premier League. He's got 3 massive clubs above him, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City, right? Then you've got Aston Villa, who are already above us. Then you've got Newcastle going to be playing 1 game a week. Chelsea, God knows whether they're going to be good or not. We never know. Man United, they're trying to do bits. The arrogance from our
Crystal
fans.
Palace. Don't sleep on Crystal Palace next season, man. And West
Ham
are doing bits, right? Here's my problem with it. Why can't people get an opinion and stick to it until something changes, right? What will happen this season? I'll say it now, right? I'll say it right now. Clip me. When Spurs don't do anything different next season to what we've just done this season, watch how many people next summer still come back and give it, this is the most negative channel out there. Oh, Savva, you're wrong. Savva, you're in the mud. About what? I'm never proven wrong on the bigger things at Tottenham. All right, the odd player here or there. But the bigger things at Tottenham, nothing changes. Oh, the kids are going to win it for us. Oh, Archie Gray was bought as the defensive midfielder. Shut up. What are we doing?
Do you know what
say?
worried me about Ange, guys? Do you know the 2 things that worried me the most last season, bar anything else? It was the first thing was when we lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and then the manager of Wolves went on Sky Sports and did a whole analysis on this is how they play, this is how you beat them, this is what we did. And he basically said, every manager watching this, there's your blueprint. The fact to do that to us is quite alarming. And that gave me a few jitters about Ange. And I've defended his ways. That concerned me a bit. That's when I realized, you know what? You're going to need to mix it up now, Ange, because you know what? This conversation of you've been found out is true. This is another rival manager that's beaten you twice, who's now showing the world how it's done. And the second thing that worried me, that went over everyone's heads, no one even discussed it too much, was when we played Man City and half the fan base wanted us to lose to stop Arsenal winning the league, and the other half wanted us to win it to get top 4. When Ange spoke about it, he said, I felt anxious. Listen, when you
We spoke about it still. Don't be a fraud. We spoke about it.
All right, maybe we did. I can't remember. But when you say anxious, you get paid the mega bucks to manage pressure. You get paid. The reason I get paid what I get paid to coach, and he gets paid what he gets paid. The different responsibility levels are higher, and the pressure levels are through the roof. And his answer was, I felt anxious.
Could that be though that he's thinking like one of us, but then got the dragon breathing down his neck saying we need top 4? Because that's the only reason you'd be anxious if he was in 2 minds.
But Dan, imagine you're in a plane. There's a problem with the engine. The pilot comes on and says, "Guys, I'm on 150 grand a year. I'm a bit anxious up here in the cockpit." Don't do that. You don't do that. For him to say that, listen, maybe he's a super humble human being. Fair play. I'll give him a bit of credit. But to say that says to me, man, you just got to make a decision. That's what you get paid to do. You got to, that's would Fergie say, yeah, I felt anxious in that moment.
Mate, he came out and said we need a winning mentality, and he goes and signs Teemo Werner, for crying out loud. Like, I don't think I'm going to ever get over it. I really don't. I think
he's learning on the job. You know that. I think he might be learning on the job.
Honestly.
This
But he keeps saying to everyone, I'm 58 years old, mate. I've been around for 20 years. I'm a winner.
Where's he getting such, like, the love that he's getting, right, he's beyond belief. Like, he's getting so much praise.
He's a good human being. He comes across like a good human being. And
if Nuno had been in charge for an entire season and conceded 61 goals, we'd all be going, oh my God, look how bad we are. We can't defend, right? If Nuno had done what Ange done from game 10 to game 38, we'd all be saying, oh my God, look at this dreadful form. For some reason, Ange is seen as this sort of messiah Like, we're talking about him like he's Pep. Like, he's seen as this messiah. Every game, our fans watch the tactics. Every game we watch our back two get overloaded and overrun on counter-attacks and transitions. And every game, people go, oh, this is great football to watch. I'm like, sorry, what? I just don't get it. And I want to show you guys something. I want to show you something.
Could that be, though? Could that be? Obviously, we're lucky enough to see some of the greats coming up. I feel sorry for them, these generations and these people, because they have nothing to focus on. And probably, what else do you celebrate? And Levy is sucking the life out of this club.
False, right?
Sorry, can I say there's a liar in the chat, Gary Hunt, saying I'm being disingenuous about the quote. Ange Postecoglou, after the game, he said that there were people in the club that were saying things that he didn't like, and there were fans saying things that he couldn't relate to,
Get his head
and
round.
that made him feel anxious as to what to do. That's exactly what he said.
Still, to add to,
So
you're right.
I said it's disingenuous. You're being disingenuous, Gary, with what you're saying.
No, so you're right, but I think as well what he alluded to was that when he saw the reaction of the fans in the stadium firsthand, he thought, "Fuck, I've got this wrong," and that added to it.
He said, in fact, he said sorry. He apologized.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Guys, can I just want to have a look at this, right? I want to have a look at this, right? And again, because I like facts. You know, I like facts, guys. I don't just go, oh my God, I don't like the manager for no reason at all. Look at the state of this, by the way, right? Look at the state of this. And can you let me know? Can you see it moving, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So you look. So we beat a relegated Sheffield United. Right? We lost to Man City. There's no shame in that. And we beat a relegated Burnley. Before that, look, we got slapped up by Liverpool. Right? A Chelsea team that everyone told me were rubbish. I remember they beat us easily on the day 2-0.
That one weren't acceptable. That was the biggest. That was another one acceptable.
Totally out-tacticked him.
We went 3-0 down to Arsenal, but then everyone's praising the fact that we got 2 back rather than how bad we were to go 3-0 down. We let in 4 to Newcastle.
That one.
Right? We've beaten Nottingham Forest, who were in a relegation battle. We've drawn 1-1 with West Ham, who were nothing special. We've beaten relegated Luton, lost 3-0 to a mid-table Fulham. There's the outlier. That was a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
We beat Palace. Yeah, you would think that was one of the first games under Glasner. Lost to Wolves. This is the game I think we scored a last-minute winner against Brighton. I remember this game we were absolutely crap against Everton and they were all over us. Look how bad that is throughout. Look, even then, lost to City, drew to United, straight past Burnley. That, guys, whether or not people want to believe me, that was our 2024 so far under this manager that everyone's telling me has brilliant tactics, plays great football. Now, before anyone says injuries, the players that everyone's talking about were back from about 3 or 4 games into January. So they played nearly that whole run-in that we've just seen there. That is diabolical. If Jose had done that, if that had been Jose, people would be losing their mind. Chelsea reject, awful football, fossil football. Ange does it. Oh, this is brilliant. Ange ball. Why?
Well, I think in what you've just showed as well, I think, like I said, for me, I'm going to give him a second season to see if anything changes. That's my opinion. But in those results, in fairness, they only back up by what everybody knows and says, and what you've been saying is every one of those defeats or draws, they all had natural wingers. They all had natural wingers where they beat us on the break with Fulham, Traore. They had Wolves, Neto. They've all had those natural wingers that stay wide and hit us on the counter, and it's game over. So we can all sit here and stick up. I like to say I'm quite level. I'm not bothered. I think, and we'll see what happens. But it's impossible to stick up for him when you can see just the facts like that. How do I stick up for him when everyone's saying the problem and that's what's happening?
Look at this, right? I'm so bored of this injuries. Do you know how many injuries Newcastle, Chelsea, and Man United had compared to Tottenham? At one stage last season, Chelsea, by the way, who had in the last 30 games of the season, Chelsea were the 4th best team. They had a terrible first 10. We had a brilliant first 10, right?
So why did we crash out the Carabao Cup with our fully fit squad?
Right. Hang on, still, right? So when we're saying injuries derailed the season, Chelsea at one point had 15 first-team players out injured for a game.
What about
15.
Newcastle when they beat us? They had 3 youth players.
Newcastle, right? Man United. Man United had all of their defence out for most of the season. The excuses that are made, and I'll show you, look, these must be trying now, saying we want Conte football back. You didn't listen. You know when I say this, guys, so I know I talk a lot, but you know when I say this, 2 of these, 1 of these, no one said they wanted Conte football back. What we said was these players would be perfect for the way Conte plays, i.e. how he played at Inter Milan, right? Not we wanted Conte football back that we saw under him with the likes of Eric Dyer and Ben Davies. You've gone on to say this. You begged for this football for years, right? This first 6 months, you lot were singing Ange songs. I wasn't singing any Ange songs, right? And begged for this football. Sorry, guys, I don't think I've ever begged to see my team be ripped apart every single game with 2 players at the back. And finally, Hector, sorry, I hate how disingenuous you are. The whole back 4 out injured. Your only number 10 creative midfielder got injured. Of course you fell off. Sure, but when they all came back, was our worst form of the season.
So Hector,
wasn't we actually better when we didn't actually have the 2 our main defenders in there?
Yes.
We actually conceded less.
Yes.
why when the whole back 4 out?
I'm going to say it.
This is a serious question
This
here.
club has a disease.
Why, if the whole back 4 out injured, did Ange continue playing that high suicidal without his men of
Agreed.
So you can't have it both ways now. If your argument about back 4 being injured is fair, which I'm going to say, okay, fair enough, then why did he continue the high line with the slowest defenders at the club?
He knows no other way.
Are you going to criticize that, Hector, or are you just here to say the opposite of what we do?
Savva, the problem with this club, it goes from the hierarchy to the fans, is in that we make excuse after excuse and after excuse.
Yeah.
Yet when we recognize those excuses, this fan base wants us to hope, right? Where there's no evidence. Where is the evidence? We haven't won a league since 1961, right? And you expect me to believe a charismatic manager that is Ange is going to come magically change something where under this leadership, we've only had 1 trophy under this leadership, and you expect us to believe. And that's the thing that boggles my mind, because I'm like, what evidence? What evidence that we are going to do better this season from last season? Signing 3 18-year-olds? Signing 3 kids while other teams are making moves. There is no evidence to see that other than hope.
But Maury, can I ask you something? What I don't get is this, right? And Stel, you're somebody like me. You've done your coaching badges, right? I think you've done a bit more than me. But what I hate about this, right, is why is it when football fans talk about tactics in football, they seem to think that you either go gung-ho or a low block. What happens to every other style of football in between there and there? Why is this? Like, saying, but if Ange sits back with the likes of Dyer, who said Ange had to sit back? We're just saying don't play everyone on the halfway line. Yes, right? If you do not have Van de Ven fit, do not play a high line, because none of the other defenders can do what Van de Ven does. Is that just common sense? Like, again, this Gary guy. This Gary guy, right? I said, listen, I like him. He came on last week. Really good guy, Gary is. Said he has said why he continued. I'm sorry. Just saying I'm going to continue because this is how we want to play moving forward isn't his job to get results. His job is to get results, right? As a football manager, not to go out there and watch us get absolutely crucified week in, week out. I just don't get. I'll ask you this. Let me ask you this. If Arsenal did what we're doing now, what would we be saying about their style of play?
You'd tear them to pieces. You'd tear them a new one, and you would absolutely grill them for the amount of goals they're conceding.
Exactly.
Look, Ange's tactics could win a cup. Why? Because you can win a cup with luck, basically. Ange's tactics in the Premiership give him the exact players that he wants to play that way. Will never, ever win a Premiership because he will always concede too many goals with his style of play. The Premiership is too good for Ange to win it. Give him all the players he wants. He still won't bloody win it because he still will concede over 45, 50 goals during the season. So this is where, during a game, when you can see that your way isn't necessarily going the right way, and you've already had 3 or 4 warnings, like with Newcastle, that we're getting hammered down the side and the ball's coming over. Oh, don't worry, we'll keep going the same way. Then you concede a goal. Right. Okay, I should be reading this now. It ain't working my way. Right, come back a bit. Wait. I'm going to have to adapt something here because it's definitely not working my way. No, we go 3-0 down before he even makes a bloody sub. Same as he did with Fulham, same as he did with other games. And people say, no, he wants to hammer his way into the team and everything. You don't need a plan B. Every good player, every good manager, not even quality manager, has a plan B or has an idea how to counter the other manager's tactics that are trying to counter your ones. It's like a game of chess, basically. But he's so set or only knows one way, he will never, ever win. Even with the best players, he could never win a league. The Premiership is too good for Ange unless he adapts. And he has done nothing to prove that he can adapt tactically to the Premier League. He's not flexible enough.
Dan,
whatever you want to say.
Right? I'm going to back you up. Right? I'm going to back you up on this because there's people in the chat saying, "Oh, Arteta had 5 years." Bullshit. Arteta went away to Man City in the FA Cup. He parked the bus for 90 minutes at the Etihad, completely adapted, and hit them with 2 sucker punch counter-attacks. And Aubameyang sent them to the cup final. In the cup final, they beat Chelsea, right? A manager adapted and won a trophy in 6 months. Arteta won the FA Cup in 6 months, and he adapted in that semi-final. We crashed out of all the cups early doors. So if people are going to compare what Arteta did to Ange, can you not miss out key components of your analysis? Because you're just literally doing what I hate the most. You're just saying the opposite to be argumentative, and you're taking out the key elements of your argument. Arteta won an FA Cup. He lifted a trophy in 6 months. Go back and watch what he did at the Etihad. He freaking parked the bus. Every time we go to the Etihad, except for Conte and Jose, we go for it. We go gung-ho.
Can I just before bring you guys in, sorry, a couple of comments I wanted to come to that made me laugh. First of all,
Unbelievable.
First of all, I love this. Again, you know when I say about people have the internet, you've got fingers, you've got the internet, you've got eyes to read the internet. Pep also struggles more in the cups compared to the league. I've just Googled. Pep Guardiola's won 9 cup competitions as Man City manager. 9. If that's struggling...
That's struggling. Oh, man, I don't want to be struggling.
I don't know what success looks like.
Didn't he win 5 Carabao Cups in a row?
Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
4.
You
He won 4 of them in a row.
Or something.
I'd love to struggle.
This guy craps me up. This whole Arteta thing, right? All I ever hear is, but Arteta in his first year, Arteta this. Let me tell you the difference between Arteta and Ange, right? Arteta, I see, is willing to be flexible for a start. And second of all, Arteta will be backed by the board and has been backed by the board. Stop assuming that Spurs are going to follow the same route as Arsenal. Their owners are putting their money where their mouth is, right? So stop saying I'm disingenuous, right? And sorry, when you know me, guys, when I vent, you probably hate my voice, but I've got to do it. Comments like this fuck me right off. John Patterson, we've had Levy for 24 years. Stop giving me this bullshit about wanting everything now. I was 16 when Daniel Levy joined this football club. I'm now 41. I was 17, sorry. I'm now
I had
41.
an afro. I genuinely had an afro. I'm not joking. Thick, curly Greek hair.
He had a Greek afro, right?
I had a Greek afro.
All of this. Hang on, James. Go on.
Yeah, you're the problem then. You're not celebrating that 1 trophy in 24 years.
No, it's mental. It's mental. Big up to Tottenham COYS, who says we bring defensive managers and give him Dyer, Hugo, Sanchez, Royal, etc. Sack them. Bring an attacker manager and then sell the best centre forward in the world. Tottenham COYS, there's no correlation. Kane was going to leave the football club regardless, right? He was going to leave the football club regardless. If Ange is truly an attacking manager, and I think this is blown out of all proportions that he's an attacking manager, if Ange really is an attacking manager, he won't need a Harry Kane. He'll find other ways around it, right? How many years did Pep play without a centre forward, and everyone went, "Oh, he really needs a centre forward"? Jamie Allen said only really bad games in 2024 was against Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal, and that's against good teams. The rest was at least deserved a tie, in my opinion.
No way, man. No way.
Jamie,
Against Fulham at home, shit against Fulham away, shit against Wolves, shit against Wolves away. We weren't that great against Crystal Palace. It wasn't until the last 20 minutes that we somehow got a victory.
Yeah, that's
Everton away.
1-0 down to Sheffield United with 6 minutes to go. Brentford 2-1. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Just to back your point. So I'm still
Burnley
seeing
in the FA Cup last minute winner. Fulham away in
Still-
the FA Cup, lost on penalties.
I'm still seeing more quotes about Arteta. And on your second point, here's the difference, and this is where I say evidence. Where's your evidence? The Cronkies, right? Me being in America, all of the teams that they've owned, they have backed their manager, their hierarchy, and they've won titles. Now, they haven't won a title with Arsenal yet, but there's evidence that they back the manager, they back the club. Whereas for Daniel Levy and the board, there is no evidence, right? They only do the status quo, just enough to be maybe top 4 quality, but they never do enough to get trophies, to get titles. So that's where the big difference is. Well, why can't we be like Arsenal and the Arteta 5-year plan? Because the problem is Daniel Levy has shown no evidence that he's going to fully back Ange.
Never. I mean, look, first of all, CDC 1205, is that a picture of Tony Montana, maybe, in that picture? If my eyes don't deceive me? Is that a great...
Yeah, it looks a little
we'll
like...
go with that. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Look, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for all your support. Please do smash the like button. A couple of other comments. You know I like to call out some funny comments. Our mate is back. Winning... Again, you can tell Spurs fans with no ambition. Winning the FA Cup isn't a barometer of how well a club has been in a season. Listen, if Spurs won an FA Cup, I would think it's the best season in 30 years. Yes, it is. Yes.
Well, can he put in the comments what is then?
That's got to be one of the stupidest statements I think I've read.
Tell me what is then.
Look,
it's like at that point, we haven't had nothing for 14 years to the point that we're so dried, we're so desperate. We wouldn't actually care who we go home with or whatever, but we still can't bloody get nothing. And
in the words of Stefan, right? In the words of Stefan, you loser. What a loser.
But again, look,
the
so
loser
winning a one-off game doesn't equate finishing 8th, 5th for 3 seasons. Eugene, he could finish 8th, 5th for 3 seasons, and he's been more successful in those seasons than Tottenham as a club have been for 33 years. But this is what I mean. That one-off game, Eugene, is more successful than Tottenham have had since 1991, Eugene.
Look at Man U. It's the worst Man U have been since I have been alive. From well, maybe not that, but from easily the past 35 years. This is the worst Man U I have ever seen.
Arteta has
and
been more
they have
successful
still won more. Man U have won more in 2 seasons than we've won in what 30 years. With the worst team.
33 years.
Yeah. That last comment, though, that comment before this one, that geezer, that's like going to work all week and not getting paid for it. What the fuck?
Absolutely. Look, Eugene, again, if Ange doesn't adapt, Eugene, you know my problem with this comment. I agree. But my problem is we're watching him every game in pre-season. Nothing in pre-season has suggested they have worked on anything to adapt the tactics.
He's not going to adapt.
And before people go, they're friendlies. Yeah, I don't care about winning or losing them. The friendlies should be where you see, right, how are we stopping the transition? How are we adapting? And we're not. This one makes me laugh. John Patterson. Again, I love this guy. I'm only going to concentrate on the last sentence. That's why he signed a 5-year contract. John, do you know how Daniel Levy operates? Do you know how Daniel Levy operates? You think Ange Postecoglou is going to be here in 2029? Are you kidding me?
Can I debunk this? Right.
Go for it.
This comment is just a fallacy. If Conte comes in on £20 million a year on a 2-year contract, that's £40 million you've agreed to pay this man.
It's exactly what I
You
was
sign
gonna say.
Ange on £3 million a year for 5 years. That is £15 million you've agreed to pay him. So from the perspective of the chairman, the contract length is irrelevant. It's the commitment of payment. So,
Agree.
So you're better off giving someone on £2-3 million a year a 10-year contract than giving Conte a 1-year contract. They've done it because if they want to sack him, it's only going to cost them what, 6-9 million. That's how you got a contract. So that a 5-year contract, it means absolutely nothing. There's no commitment.
Maybe he wants to get sacked. You Greeks like your barbecues in the sun. Maybe he wants that money and head back home.
He said he wants to go back to
exactly. Yeah, he wants that. He. To be honest, I think we're all singing from the wrong hymn sheet. He's probably coming here, signed a massive contract, and thought I'll be done by next year. Get that payout, and I'm out of here.
I figured out Savva's problem. If I'm honest, Savva, you need the winning mentality, mate.
I know. Do you know what, Matt? Do you know what I love, Matt? Wanting, Stella and I talk about this all the time. Wanting better players and wanting success in this fan base is seen as negative.
I know,
right?
it's mad.
But championing crap defending, championing Brennan Johnson, championing not winning trophies is seen as the positive half glass full fan.
Savva,
let that sink in.
The other thing said here,
Ange would be given a 5-year contract. He was on £10 million a year. I don't.
Never. The other thing said here quickly.
I don't think he's getting a 5-year contract.
By your mate John. Wigan nicked an FA Cup. Doesn't mean they're brilliant, does it? Maybe they're not brilliant, but they've done better than we have in 20 years.
Dan, you can debunk this instantly. I would swap where I am now for where Leicester are in a heartbeat. To have that one day when they won that league with my son, I would die a happy man knowing I could see that.
They then went and won the FA Cup a couple of years later.
But even take that out of it. That one day where they won that league, I would happily drop down to League 2 to know that I've experienced with my family.
60 years, James.
Yeah,
we'd celebrate that for 60 years. 60 years.
Yeah.
Here we go. By the way, just quickly, Fabrizio Romano. Tottenham are now officially in talks with Conor. No, it's not. It's not true. It's not true. Pedro Neto on his future. Staying at Wolves. I love this club. I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to take this team to another level.
Good.
Make of it what you will. I'm just out here chucking out comments.
Sam, I'm confused.
I don't want him.
Spurs are in talks with him, but he said he's happy to take Wolves to another level, or he's happy to take Spurs to another level.
We're not in talks with him. We're, as far as I can see. Were you listening to what I said?
He was joking at the beginning. No, he was joking where he said we're in talks. It was joking.
Oh, right. Okay, all right. Sorry, man.
I mean, look, guys, girls. I mean, look, by the way, if anyone needs to drop, please drop. But Friday night, I'm an old git now. I don't do anything, so I'm happy to keep going. Look, people in the chat, I am all for the, your glass half full. Love it, right? And you think I'm glass empty. But at the end of the day, your glass being half full doesn't make my facts wrong, right? My facts mean more than your glass being half full. And everybody, like I saw, Stel, I sent you today, right? I went into, somebody messaged me and said, Jesus, Savva, you're being slagged right off on a YouTube show. And I thought, oh God, here we go. Like, who's this? And I don't mind, as long as it's not YouTubers, right? As long as it's just people in the chat. And I went into the chat of We Are Tottenham TV, and literally you would think that I've said Spurs are going to get relegated every season. Like, the comments about me are hilarious. None of them fail to mention, though, that I got it absolutely spot on last year. Like, no one mentions that. It's just that I'm negative. So what I want to do is I want to ask everyone in the chat, because and I'm going to ask all of you in the panel. I want us as fans to start being accountable for our opinions. Yeah? Stop flip-flopping. Stop, oh, but I'm positive. Let's be accountable for our own opinions. Yeah? I like to think I always am. If the season started now, hypothetical, this is our squad, no one else leaves, no one else comes in, let me know in the chat, where will Spurs finish? Now, please factor in that we haven't, at the moment, got a striker. We haven't got a defensive midfielder, right? We've let a lot of players go. We've got European football midweek as well. I'll go round. Danny, as it stands, where would we finish this season?
As it stands, I've seen nothing of him to change anything. Like what your fella says here, friendlies about messing about with different formations. He hasn't done no different formations, no different style. We was already sussed out. End of the season, we was like, what, 16th on the games we'd played. And with the lack of improvement we've got in that first 11, I think we're looking at 7th or 8th.
Okay.
So I'll go 8th. I think, and that'll be a good season.
And we'll revisit this depending on signings and outgoings.
Exactly. But at the moment,
7th or 8th. Okay. Mari, Tottenham, where are we going to finish as it stands?
It's real serious. We're going to finish 3 points short behind City in second place. And then Johnson is going to score 25 goals across all competitions. Gray is going to be the new Stevie G, Frank Lampard. Mikey Moore is going to come in after Teemo had a great year. He gets injured. Mikey Moore comes in, scores 15 goals, and we finish second. That's what the chat, right? These happy clappers want me to say.
Yeah.
It's a second. All right. In reality, I see us finishing 7th.
Right, so 7th or 8th, 7th. Maz?
I have a really big problem with this question because I don't think that Andrew's going to be our manager past January. So
can we come to that in a minute? Let's come to that. We'll come to that debate in a minute.
So, however, let's.
So where's Ryan Mason going to finish? Where's Ryan Mason going to finish?
Exactly.
How many games is Ryan Mason going to take charge of this season?
Exactly right, and then we'll get. He'll be in charge of the season. Then we'll get Gareth Southgate next summer.
There you go. There you go. Done. So from 2 hours ago, when they said they just need to decide on bonuses, we've got the here we go for Fulkrog to go to West Ham. There we go. Done.
We'll talk about it after. Right.
Yeah, go on.
I think that we're going to finish 7th. We're going to lose games that we think we should comfortably win because we've been sussed out tactically. I think we'll have games where we maybe surprise a few of the bigger teams. And yeah, we'll just finish 7th.
Okay. So I've got 7th, 8th, 7th, 7th. Stelios?
This is difficult because if Spurs crush out the cups early in Europe, then I think we finish kind of 5th again. But if we actually progress, then I'd be 7th. So I do think we'll do a bit better in the cups this year. So
even more games.
I'm going to say 6th. Finish 6th.
Okay. And you know what? Do you know what's hilarious about this, James? I'll come to you first before I say this. Go on, James. Has been the most positive.
I would say maybe a semi-final and 9th.
Wow.
All right. Which semi-final are we getting to?
Oh, like the League Cup. Yeah, nothing more than it. It'll be the League Cup.
I'm holding you accountable for this, James. The moment we get
if we stay how we are now, we've got the worst front three in the top half of the table. Well, comfortably.
West Ham's team's better than Spurs, for crying out loud.
Much better.
That's what I said earlier.
As things stand,
team up, Maz. Someone put a West Ham team up the other day, and I looked and I said, of the forward 6 players, I think the only one of ours that would get in is Son.
Son, yeah.
But would he? But would he?
And
Over like
let's be
Kudos.
honest, Son
Kudos is a
is on the
baller.
decline.
Yeah.
Son is on the decline.
Guys, what's very funny about me asking that question, right, is I don't know if you've noticed, I've been flicking up these things. Nearly everyone that disagrees with me all show literally has the same opinion as where I think Tottenham will finish.
They're all negative. They're all
But
negative.
I'm super negative. I think Spurs will finish 6th. And I don't think it even matters who we bring in because we can't defend. I'm going with 6th. That's a big call, right? I don't want to change my opinion unless we sign Lionel Messi. We are going to finish 6th, right? A good season for me will be finishing 5th, and a bad season will be anything below 6th. Look how many people have gone lower than me, but we're negative. Look, it's madness.
I think you're actually happy clapping there to say 6. To say 6. I'm sorry, mate. I've lost a lot of respect for you there.
You know what?
Disappointed in you, Savva.
You see, with this season just gone, if he would have even finished, let's say 9th, just random number, 9th. No one would have been particularly impressed. But if he would have focused and we would have won that League Cup, just the League Cup, I think you'd have had a lot of fans on here, me being one of them, who would have said, "Do you know what? All right, that's a bit of a shit league one, but you've won us a cup, mate. Okay, fair play. I'll accept that all day long. And now want to see you do better in the league next season." But he went out of the League Cup in the bloody first round. And the FA Cup,
it's not even about winning it, mate. It's about having a go. It's not even about winning it. Just have a go.
You know what I mean? It's just he could have given himself basically like Arteta did, and that was give himself some time by go and get that bloody League Cup, and then you'll keep a few people like us quiet because we're that desperate where we haven't seen nothing for 14 years that a League Cup we'll go over the moon like we just won the bloody league because we don't win anything, and that would have bought him time. But 9 changes in that game. Just making 9 changes when you don't have to me, that's not even madness. That's stupid. That's
Dan,
a manager not knowing what he's doing.
How funny was it at the beginning of last season? All these fans that followed Ange. First of all, I find it really weird when football fans don't support a club but support a man. I find that really disturbing. Sorry, I don't know if that's an English.
That is fucking weird.
It's really, really
weird.
odd. It's
It's
like
2024. It's 2024, man. Whatever turns you on at the end
like
of the day.
supporting Bayern Munich because Harry Kane's gone there, right? It's weird. I don't get it. But anyway, all those people last year went, guys, he plays his best teams in cups. You watch, he'll go for everything, right? He loves playing youth. Last season, get to 3 games into the season, gets knocked out the League Cup because he messed about, and yet none of our kids played. Dorrington and Ashley Phillips couldn't get a minute when all of our centre-backs were injured at the same time. Like, madness. Guys,
criminal. He played Skip at left-back, Savva.
Oh, don't, Maz.
And to be fair, with what we've seen so far, the only thing I've been really excited for is some of the kids. Some of the kids have been fantastic pre-season. I thought Donnelly, Mikey Moore, they've been quality. But the fact that you can't,
James, they're not. James, I spoke to Simon Davies, who came me direct to me. Listen,
but I'm saying from what we've seen, but what we've seen from pre-season, for me, they've been the highlight of the pre-season, and that's saying how shit we've been. People like Ashley Phillips, I think he's been probably our best defender. So for me, that is me saying that he can't come out and say, "Oh, we need to give the youth a chance." Then when the youth actually play, they play better than the first team, and then not play them again.
Look, I want to go on to this. I want to go on to Ange. Maz brought up a topic. I want to go on to that in a second. I just need to get some super chats from a lot of them from my mate Donna. So, we've got to look at those. We're going to talk about that and the youth. And is everyone okay for time? Are we all good?
All good.
I've got
By
about
the way,
15 minutes.
Danny Olmo, who we were linked to, contract expired, can trigger a cheap clause. Yeah, he's just signed for Barca.
Oh, mate. And by the way, West Ham have just made their 3rd signing of the evening.
We've
West
got
Ham
to.
have just-
Can we not move on? We've got to talk about
Yeah,
this now,
can
right?
you two fuck
Hang on,
off?
hang on, no, I need to get some super chats. I've got to do these super chats. Right?
You two fuck off. You're telling me they're signing him, he's signing him. I'm fucking leaving.
But West Ham today have completed the
My God.
signing of Guido Rodriguez, right? Fulkrog, and Crescencio Somerville is going to sign his contract tomorrow after completing his medical. Now,
I think he's a good
let me make this clear for people in the chat who don't listen. I'm not saying Spurs should sign every one of those players, but West Ham have identified their targets to make them better, have gone out, got it done, and not taken all month. Spurs have been in talks with AC Milan for 29 days and still haven't sold Emerson Royale, who's worth about 50p. Super chats. Aaron J, big up Aaron. I said, Fab has tweeted about Neto. Big up, bro. Thank you. That's what prompted me to say it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. GB has said, anyone abusing Savva's family is a piece of crap. Do you know what? The people who say stuff about my wife, I'd really like them to say it to my wife because she scares the shit out of me. So I'd love them to say it to her and see what happens. She's a good old South London. She wouldn't like me saying that, but yeah, I don't get on her bad side. Donna Cullen, here we go. I said, let's end fight. Let's end fight. I'm signing Eze, Tony, Neto, and Kimmich. Donna, you're a true inspiration. Thank you for those four signings. Really appreciate it, Donna. Who said, Mr. Savva, your panel looks very scary today. Yeah, they're not the best looking, but they've got good football opinions. So, you know, I'm here for the looks. Don't you worry about that. Donna has said, Mr. Savva, go sleep. It's under my control now. I've got no idea what that means. Donna Cummins also said, Mr. Savva, have some faith in your friend Donna. And Savva, I forgot to say Wagwan to everyone. I would love to think that Donna Cullen rocks up to a board meeting at the Spurs and goes, Wagwan. I would love to think that happens.
Savva, she said the funniest thing in that, last week on my channel. You know, we signed that boy Yang.
Yeah.
She posted, listen, it was funny. She said, Wagwan with the kid from one.
Just madness. Do you know what? I'm all for the nice trolls. I'm all for that. I love it. Whoever that is, I think is brilliant. They are so funny. Guys, girls, West Ham seem to be able to go out and get deals done. And by the way,
fucking West Ham, man. West Ham.
There needs to be.
Go on, Maz. I know you want this moment. Go on,
no,
Maz. Go on.
There needs to be a criminal inquiry, right, into how we've missed out on Somerville and that Fulkrug.
I agree.
And
I agree.
We cannot let this lie. How have we gone for Teemo Werner, Gray, right? And they've gone and signed 3 quality players. How?
I didn't think.
Is this like an alternative reality now where West Ham are doing better business than us all of a sudden?
Oh.
They've won a European trophy and now we're done. That's it. They've overtaken us and signing better players.
Somerville's a good player, man. He's a
good player.
I don't understand. I think they need to be questioned because ain't the Olympics on? I didn't know we could sign players. The Olympics is on.
Yeah, the Olympics, the Euros.
That's what I mean.
Eurovision's on soon, isn't it? Can't is Eurovision on? Not allowed to sign players for Eurovision.
I'm a celebrity. We sign soon.
What is that? Savva, do you know what the combined fee is for all those 3 players?
I do know the exact fees for those 3 players. Crescencio Somerville is 25 million in pounds.
Yeah.
It's just over 20.4 million for Fulkrog. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Guido was a free. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, they're talking about 18 million pounds.
That's a bug.
And the other one, there's one more, isn't there, that they're in talks with? But I did this earlier. Listen to this.
25 million, basically.
Listen to this, right? Yeah. I did this earlier. Spurs, if they signed Dominic Solanke, right, it would be 175 million on Solanke, Richarlison, and Johnson. If West Ham, or they have now, West Ham for 140 million, 35 million less, have signed Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, Fulkrog, and Somerville.
What a
Imagine Pep
team.
Guardiola spent £170 million on 3 players. Who do you think he'd sign?
Yeah, not ours. But still, those 5 players, look at this. This is what makes you laugh. Look, we don't want Somerville. Why?
Why?
He's a brilliant winger.
What? So
He's
would he
so
rather
much
Teemo?
better than Teemo.
There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, there's
Better
no
than
way.
Teemo, man. He's better than
That
Son.
guy's
Oh,
never
you're-
watched a fucking game of football in
people
his
have
life.
lost their minds.
We don't want
Absolutely
Somerville,
lost
but
their
everyone
minds.
was bigging up Gray.
Right.
What the fuck?
And last year,
Do you know
we
what?
went
That's
to
a
Nottingham
good point from
Forest.
Dan. That's a good point.
We went
Dan.
to Nottingham Forest, Dan, last year and didn't take their best player, Morgan Gibbs-White.
Morgan Gibbs, yeah.
This year, we've gone to Leeds and we've not taken their best player last season. That was Crescencio Somerville. What was it? 20 goals and 10 assists, right? This is what we do. Now, as you said, Teemo Werner, we brought in rather than Crescencio Somerville. And there's a Spurs YouTuber who I can't stand. I'll tell you his name in a minute. I can't stand him. I think his opinions are terrible. He put a video up today, I think on X, of Mohamed Kudus running through players at will and scoring a sublime goal. Right? I'm talking about you still, tongue in cheek, right?
I was about to say, I put that video up.
I know you did. I know. Mohamed showed the video of Mohamed Kudus picking the ball up in his own half, weaving
you,
through about 4 or 5 players and tucking the ball in the net. And our fans tell me Brennan Johnson's better than Mohamed Kudus. I don't know what to do. I can't sleep at night. I can't sleep at night with these bad opinions. I don't know.
How can Andrew's not going absolutely mental that West Ham are doing better business than what we are?
The thing is, as well, he is actually saying sly digs. Like in his last press conference, we have no number 9. He is saying sly things, and it's like, for me, if you're a manager coming out and saying that before the season starts, you need to buck your ideas up.
Mate. Oh yeah, look at this goal from Kudus.
Running through everyone. Yeah,
Look at him.
Yeah.
I can't see Brennan Johnson make a 5-yard pass. Still, I hate these type of comments. Right, as 2 people who are very vocal, like Stell and I are, I've made it very clear a number of times that I like Crescencio Somerville. Right, we signed Teemo Werner. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
So here's a thing, right? For me, this is similar to Chiesa, what I was saying about Chiesa. Do I think Chiesa is wow? No. Do I think Somerville is wow? No. But is Somerville an upgrade on Johnson on the wings, Kulu on the wings, Solomon on the wings, Teemo on the wings? 100%. 100%. Do I think Fulkrug's a brilliant striker? No. Is he better than what we've got with some pedigree? Absolutely. So for me, if they were to come to Spurs, I see a first team improvement. That's the point with these signings. Gray is not an improvement. He's an unknown.
But Somerville is exactly the profile. But still, Somerville is exactly the profile they should be buying.
Doesn't he fit an Ange system?
Price-wise, yeah.
A winger.
Yeah.
What an age? He's young as well.
Goals, assists.
Wants to get to the byline. Wants to beat his man. Get to the byline.
Yeah. Savva, you touched on this earlier. The business that West Ham are doing is, in my head, what the business I was expecting Ange to do for Spurs.
I agree.
But he hasn't done that. Stel said last night he was talking in regards to the statistics-based scouting of players and signing them. What are they doing? What metrics are they actually looking for that stops them from buying the players that West Ham?
I told you what they're doing. What they're doing is they're running an algorithm that looks at wages being a certain range, how many years left on the contract so they can negotiate a low price, and the viability of them actually being easy for Spurs to get to the club. And when they run that filter, that's how we end up with a Brennan Johnson. Solomon is only at Spurs because of a political war that's meant that he can go on a free legally. The only reason we got Basuma is because He had 1 year left on his contract. Maddison,
Yeah.
1 year left on his contract. Who was the other one out wide? Teemo Werner. They don't want him. He's free. Just pay the wages. These signings all have the hallmarks of a recruitment team that's running some kind of filter. And then once in a while, they'll spend like a 40 or 50 million pounds on one player, like a Romero or a Van der Ven or a Richie. All the other things. Look, even Archie Gray, look at that deal. It's 35 million, but we'll give you Rodon, so 25 million. Yeah, fits the criteria. They're not saying.
But the algorithm must be wrong still. It's got to be wrong.
Yeah, but the waiting. So it's fine filtering, but they obviously have to weight these metrics, right, to give certain priorities over certain characteristics, i.e., salary, age, viability in terms of whether they're actually going to come to Spurs, right? They'll be weighted. Otherwise, you're just going to have a massive filter of players, and then you're just like picking anyone. They have to it's
be
weighted. Of course, it is.
Yeah,
what they're
right?
not doing, who's a really good player with experience?
Yeah, exactly.
That fits the position we need,
and that's the point I'm alluding to, probably badly. Is West Ham are behaving the way I would have thought Ange would want to behave. But what is becoming really clear is that Ange, by all of the signings we've seen him make, every single signing, actually doesn't know what a good player looks like.
I agree. I don't think he does.
This has been happening since Paratici come here. This has been happening. Look at Danjuma, stopgap. Look at Clement Longley, stopgap.
Well, then it's Paratici then, right?
These signings all match this kind of filter of what could we get at the cheapest price, not because they're the best player at the cheapest price, but because they meet the filter of there's only 1 year left on the contract, or we can get them on a loan, or it's not going to break the bank. And the reason they run this filter is because they want to buy quantity, not quality.
Yeah,
it feels
that's man. It's like when you're on holiday and you've seen a T-shirt you like, but it's a bit shit quality, so you wait and see a better one. The last day of your holiday, you think, "Fuck it, I've got 50 quid left. I'm just gonna buy loads of shit." That's Daniel Levy's philosophy. You've got your money on that last day of your holiday, and you think,
have been wonderful.
Now we all know where James goes on holiday, don't we? He goes to Benidorm, doesn't he? Look.
But it's true, isn't it? It's like we've got loads of money. We get to the last day of the season, we think, "Fuck it, we've got all this money. Let's spend it." Brennan Johnson, you'll do.
Yeah,
it's madness,
mate. Do you know what? Listen, I want to go to a few comments, a few super chats, and some comments. You know, I love to bring up comments of people. Some of the comments are just so. I'm not going to say dumb. I'm going to say funny that I've got to read them out. First of all, Kit Frankie, I started this earlier. I'll come to you and say, out of curiosity, Savva, would you want Ange sacked? I understand the concern around the tactics, but personally, I think there's no reason to get rid. Listen, I'm of the opinion I don't really rate Ange. I also don't think there'd be any point in sacking him. We're just going round and round in circles, right? I'm not saying actively sack him, but what I am saying is I just don't understand this hype that he's getting as though he is Ancelotti or Pep.
But if you actually break that down, do you want Ange sacked? Well, no, I want to win the fucking league, so why do I want him sacked? It's like you're pinning someone down and saying I want him gone. Well, I want to watch my club win. I want him to lose and get sacked.
Let me get some super chats and then I've got some funny comments. Big up Donna, who's back and said, by scary, I meant they look aggressive but handsome. Oh, look at them. All these manly men with their aggressive handsomeness. Big up Donna. And now she's moved away from me and she wants to know if Mr. Maz is handsome. Sorry, Mr. Maz is handsome. Man of the night tonight. Look at that sex god in the top right-hand corner there.
You've pulled, mate. You've pulled.
That wasn't enough. She's now inquiring, are you single and available, Maz?
No, married. 2 kids.
Didn't ask if you were married. Are you available?
I'm always available. Fucking hell.
Listen, I'm married, but my wife knows if Margot Robbie turns up at my doorstep,
You're
I'm
gone.
available. You know
You're gone, mate.
That's my nightly dream, by the way. Donna has also said, I can't sleep at night dreaming of Mr. Maz. This is so weird, but I love it. Now to some funnier comments that, you know, when people don't use these or use context, I love it. God gave us 2 ears for a bloody reason, so you can hear better. This has got to be one of the worst takes I've seen. Wan-Bissaka statistically is either the second or third best defensive fullback in the Premier League. Like one-on-ones, he is superb. Yeah? Say what you want about him going forward. One-on-ones, wingers don't like playing this guy because he is bloody brilliant at doing, you know, that thing that, guys, help me out. That thing that defenders do? Defend. You know they're meant to defend. This guy's terrible, but bloody good at defending, which is his job. Somerville is good. The rest of them are meh at best. Eugene, we've signed Teemo Werner, Archie Gray, Valise, Solomon. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Robert said, if you want Fulkrug at Spurs, you need to watch more football. Robert, again, 2 ears, right? 2 ears, Robert. I'm not saying per se that Spurs should have gone and bought Fulkrug, but for West Ham, he's a bloody good signing for West Ham. They don't have a centre forward. They've now got a brilliant target man that is going to have Bowen, Kudos, and Somerville all running in behind him. What a perfect fit that is. Context. Eugene has said, he has no offensive game, doesn't fit us. He's like Emerson. He's nothing like Emerson Royale.
He's a better version of Emerson Royale.
What?
He's a much better version.
But ain't he a West Ham? He's a West Ham defender. He fits their system perfectly.
Right. No one said Spurs should buy Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Eugene. You're not listening. And Ronnie said, sorry, Somerville and Fulkrug in our team don't take us any higher. We have Brennan Johnson, Solomon, and Teemo Werner on our wings. How does Somerville...
I really think people need to watch more football and actually use their eyes.
And what Somerville's on Sky Sports right now. Right now, twisting defenders inside out. They're showing his close control, his skill.
Can I just add, right? For everyone who thinks those two players can't get into our team, how many of our players went to the Euros? Apart from what? Dragusin? Who else?
Mickey.
Van de Ven.
Mickey.
Vicario.
Right. Okay. One goalkeeper, 2 defenders.
Sorry, what was the question, Maz?
How many of our players in the positions that we're talking about went to the Euros?
Well, who
as far
actually
as I
played?
know,
Van de Ven was on the bench. Vicario was on the bench.
There you go.
Van de Ven played a couple of.
Van de Ven should have played though.
There was a few subs. Hoiberg.
Hoiberg was the best player at
sold
Spurs at the
him.
Euros.
And Romero went to Copa.
My point is, right, is the standards that Spurs have dropped so much that we hardly had anyone there and hardly any of them really played. So
no England
they need
players.
to watch more football.
No Spurs players for England, none.
Fulkrug was quite an integral part of that German team. He came on and he changed the game.
I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah. You know,
Sorry,
I'm not saying he's a
Maz,
worldie.
Where did his club go last year?
Oh, he's exactly.
Champions League
Didn't
final.
his club get to a Champions League final? If I remember rightly, in the 2 semi-finals, I remember watching Fulkrug and going, yes, wow, you are a proper target man that people put the ball into, hold it up, fight players off, bring others into the game. All we look at is and go, oh, he only got 16 or 17 goals last season. There's more to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's like when you're arguing with an idiot and they've got nothing to say.
Part of that Dortmund team. You can't take that guy out of that team.
Yeah. And the thing that you're forgetting, he's bringing that experience of going to a Champions League final to West Ham. He's bringing that winning, they didn't win the final, but he's bringing that to West Ham.
Yeah, but again, Murray, Savva didn't say that we should sign them. He said they make West Ham better. They do make West Ham better.
Yeah,
that's not us saying that they need to come in and start every week for us, because they don't. I'd agree with the fans by saying that.
Our 11 better. We haven't. We haven't beat nobody who walks into that 11 and makes it better. Everyone can big up Gray and Bergville as much as they want. We don't even know what they're going to be like. For all we know, we might have got the next Messi. I very much doubt it. But nobody can say for a fact we have got a player that is going to make that first 11 better. Whereas if we go and get someone like Eze, Tony, Chiesa, then we've bought players that will blatantly make that 11 better. We haven't done that.
You watch how much West Ham end up selling some of those players for when they eventually sell them as well. You watch. They've spent £140 million on those 5 players. Look what we do with that same 140 million. But yet we can't. No one can have critical thinking. People hear what they want to hear. Me saying. I said the other day. I said this is where you laugh. I said I think Kamada's a really good player that Palace signed. Said I think that's a brilliant signing. Oh, he wouldn't get in our team. I went, hang on. First of all, I never said I wanted Spurs to sign him. I just said that it's a really good signing for Palace. Second of all, I think he would get in our team, Kamada. Like, I genuinely think we overhype every single Spurs footballer.
But the fans saying that Fulkrug, wouldn't go down well at Spurs. You got Richarlison who scored 11 goals, and he had a purple patch, and that was it. He was done for the season. He's never scored more than 13 goals for any club.
Right, yeah, it's like what Sam said there about everyone. We overhype all our players. I said it last season about Udogie. Everyone raved about Udogie. That guy cost us so many goals last season from giving the ball away, in my opinion. And that ain't me saying he's a crap player. Udogie, the amount of goals he gave away last season was madness. And everyone's like, "Oh no, he's the best left wing and best left back in the Prem." When you actually watch him, he gave the ball away so much.
I agree.
The season, he conceded us about 4 or 5 goals towards the end of the season. I agree, but up until then, he was doing a good job. No, he's a left wing back.
He's a left wing back.
Porro ain't a right back.
Exactly. I disagree. He's a number 10.
Well, that's what they have to play to, isn't it?
It's the man. By the way, we've got Margot, Robbie, and Donna Cullen in the chat fighting over me, ladies. There's enough of me to go around. Don't worry. It's all good.
I'm jealous.
Donna has said, Mr. Savva, tell Margot not to call me an old lady, please. What is happening in the world? Jay Nelda has said, Irons. Do you know what I hate, Jay? The 2 best men at my wedding are West Ham fans. And I'm in WhatsApp groups with them talking about how I'm jealous that West Ham are making moves. Again, not necessarily that we're not going for the exact same players, but that it seems like nearly every target West Ham have gone for, other than Kante and Todibo, they bid for Kante and Todibo. Guys, right? Right. They're getting their targets. And we're sitting here with 27 days of the window to go. We're sitting here with 16 days until our first Premier League game, and we've done nothing. None of you are going to tell me Archie Gray strengthens our 11 immediately. No one.
Is Kante available? Is Kante actually available?
I don't know. But they tried.
We don't know.
You know what? I'm jealous about West Ham and clubs like that. I said it on Brian's channel the other day. I'm so jealous of the fact that they get highlighted with a player and go and sign that player. Even if we sign Eze now, you know what? I couldn't give a fuck anymore. I'm bored of it. Even if he comes in, I'm like, it's been going on for fucking 6 months. I'm bored of it.
It's not exciting anymore, is it?
It's not exciting. It's boring.
It's like Lissandro Damiao, whatever his name is, like linked for the last 10 years.
James, I said this on Tottenham away this last 3 weeks. Stoke could back me up. This is the first time I'm going into the season where I'm bored. I don't even care. I'm already dejected, and the season haven't even started yet.
Yeah, I think our scouts are so bad. You know, they spread these rumours themselves. They put out Dominic Solanke. Let's see what Twitter says. No, they don't agree with that guy. We won't get him. No, don't get him.
Sorry, are you saying we're all the Spurs recruitment?
Yeah,
team?
I think we're yeah. What was it? No to Amrabat. When Amrabat, no to Amrabat. He didn't come.
James, can I
we
tell
are
you
the scouts.
One of my best mates. Funny enough, when we were growing up, he was an Arsenal fan. Now he went down. He went down the leagues, and he had enough of corporate football and all this. And he's a Charlton fan now, right? Anyway, so he's got no skin in the game. And he said, do you know what I find funny, Savva? He said, I've never known a club where all of the signings are so divided on opinion. And then I said to him, do you think that could be because of the quality of the players? And he went, yes. If you sign a quality player, every fan in the fan base goes, love that. Right? If Spurs sign Eze right now, no one's sitting here going, oh, what, we signed Eze. When you're signing Werners, right? When you're signing Brennan Johnsons, the reason why so many are 50-50 about it is because they're not quality footballers. If they were, every single one of us would go, that's a top player. Do you get what I'm saying? That's the problem with Spurs. That's how you know we're not signing quality. Archie Gray, this whole Archie Gray thing, I've never known an 18-year-old have the hype and pressure that this kid is getting from our fan base from a pre-season.
The pressure we put on him.
Phenomenal.
I feel sorry for him, to be honest.
I do.
Yeah, look, I actually like all of the youngsters that I've seen. I haven't looked at one youngster and thought, oh yeah, he's not very good. I like all of them, right? But I'm not expecting them to be amazing this season.
No.
But what I would like is if we're doing well, just to integrate a few of them every now and again, give them a few minutes, blood them in. And that's all fans should expect.
But unfortunately, you've got accounts on X and stuff where these people were going, oh my, like we saw one the other day. Is it Vuskovic is the young Croatian kid that we signed? And somebody put this post out with, it was a screenshot of him defending, and it said something along the lines of, for his age, his box defending position is sensational. He's way above his years. And I thought, what does that mean? Straight away, we're putting pressure on 16-year-olds and talking about them like they're Paolo Maldini.
Oh, what about, was it Archie Gray? Gives me Declan Rice vibes.
Archie Gray is
That's not the most.
That geezer's a clown. He's such a clown. Can't even bear listening to that geezer, man. He's a fucking clown.
I don't want to go deep into individuals, but again, this is what we're doing. And you know why we're doing it, guys? In Savva's humble opinion, we are so void of quality signings that what we're doing is most clubs would sign an Archie Gray and go, cool, we signed an 18-year-old. What are we doing now? Our club have turned this signing into the second coming. I'm like, we need a 6. We bought Gray.
We do it all the time.
What?
We do it all the time.
It's madness.
Look, when you've got a club and a set of players that is not players, sorry. When you've got a club and a set of supporters that have somehow found a way to big up Teemo Werner, it says it all.
It's true, isn't it?
It says it all. I know people will say, but you keep going back to the same subject. Yeah, well, sorry, people. It is a big part of the subject.
No, well, when
that's a majority of fan base can sit there and big, but Ange wanted him to say he's got to be good. He can see something right in him. Yep, Teemo Werner's going to cut. Look, when the fan base can big that up. Game over.
I watched the YouTube channel have a Spurs representative, in all seriousness, say that Liverpool's front three, we had a better front three than Liverpool's front three.
Fuck's sake.
We have a better front three than Liverpool's front three.
Did you see the goal they scored against Arsenal?
And try to use stats to justify. And I was just, and I missed the show because if it was live, I would have said, go watch Estelle's study about when Richarlison and Brennan Johnson got their stats against the bottom half of the league, right? The gimme games. What did they do against the top half, the big games, other than Son?
Mate,
I couldn't believe
Liverpool's second string front three won a Carabao Cup.
Liverpool had 17 and 18-year-olds playing in the final and won. But by the way, we are going to end the show in 2 minutes, guys. Our fans have taken all of these kids who have never started a Premier League game in their life and determined that this is the best crop of youngsters we've ever had. We all know how this goes. Most of them won't make it. We know how this goes. I'm not being negative. It's natural. Only a certain amount of players can make it. Guys, I do want to end the show there. What I want to do just really, really quickly is say, Donna Cullen has said, Mr. Savva, I'm only 35-year-old. Tell her, Donna, you and I get the feeling that you and Margot might be the same person. But thank you very much anyway. Ace Kev 1983 that said Wan-Bissaka was a great defender. Will he still be the same after his injuries? There is a reason Man U are getting rid of him. Yeah, sure, but for West Ham, I think it's a brilliant signing for West Ham.
Definitely.
Look, it is what it is. I know you're only asking a question. I just think he will be. But big up, thank you for the chat. And I want to end on this, guys. And all I want is one number from all of you before you go. EJH has said this. So far, what would you all rate the window out of 10? Now, I normally hate this game, but this window has been extra shit, even by our standards. I'm happy to play. Danny, out of 10 so far.
Can I even rate it in the 10 or can I go lower?
Do what you got to do.
If I'm going to say for a couple of players for the future, then I'll go a 5. If I'm going to say for an overall window, then I'll go a bloody -1.
-1. Love it. Maury?
I'm going to be kind and say 2.
A kind 2, -1 and a 2. Maz?
2.
2. James?
I'm going to say 5 or 6 just because of the players that we've got out. None that we've come in, but I think it's a good start getting the shit out.
Who?
I didn't actually think of that side. I didn't actually think of that. We have actually got away with a little
Who's
bit of crap.
actually gone?
Hoiberg. I mean,
Online.
getting rid of Ndombele. It's good to get him out.
We paid
Hill,
5
I know he
million
hasn't.
to get rid of Ndombele.
No, yeah, but he's gone. That's a good sign. He's gone.
We paid to get rid of him.
We had to pay.
But at least he's gone.
Hill is on loan. Højbjerg's on loan. Davis is still here. Royale is still here. Spence is still here. Solomon's still here. Werner's back. Richarlison's still here. I don't think all this so-called Deadwood Skip's still here. I don't think all this Deadwood has gone.
We got
Not
a
all of
little
it, but I think we've made a good start, to be honest. That's why I'd say 5. I think the outgoings have started in the right direction.
Fair enough.
5. Stel?
I'm not even joking when I say this. We haven't signed one player to improve the first team, and the players we've got rid of are players that don't even play for us anyway. So for me, 0. I'm not joking. It's a 0.
But we've got generational talent still, for crying out loud.
Does that mean I'm positive?
I'm going to have to say, and we're going to end the show on this, I'm going to have to agree with Stel on this and go with 0. I think when people talk about Deadwood leaving the club, so far the players that have left is actually all the Deadwood that was out on loan anyway. None of the actual players, other than Højbjerg, who played as a sub mainly, have left the club, and even he's gone on loan. And so far, we've made £16 million from 11 outgoings. 1.5 million per outgoing, plus adding the 5 million we had to pay to get rid of Ndombele, we're at, what's that, 11 million pounds. We're averaging 1 million per player released. And people are going, oh, we're getting rid of Deadwood. Most of them are on loan. I'm going to give it a 0. I don't care about signing the kids. We've done nothing to strengthen the first team. Join me tomorrow as Tottenham are playing Bayern Munich. I'll be live from 11 a.m. Danny, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us,
thank you so much for being the eye candy that we didn't know we needed, but we've got anyway. James, thank you very much. Stel, thank you. Mari, thank you. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate it. Smash the like button. Subscribe to Hotspur Hood, Tottenham Away. I don't think, James, you got a channel?
No, mate.
No, don't.
I get enough abuse.
Yeah, it's more hassle than it's worth. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
EVR.